Welcome to the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast, where feelings aren't felt and snowflakes melt. Buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy ride.
These confines with a monarch's voice cry havoc! Let slip the dogs of war. To my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. Oh, I've chosen my words carefully, Persian. Perhaps you should have done the same. This is blasphemy. This is madness. Madness. This is Sparta!
They painted over ants.
Welcome to the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast.
Can't sing quite that, harmoniously and make people think you're grumpy.
Oh, you're right. Welcome to the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast. How's that?
There
sorry,
you go.
I just scared the shit out of my dogs. Come here. Come here, babies. It's okay. Daddy's just having fun. They're like, oh, daddy's about to fight a liberal. His voice is getting that way. Anyway, you're probably asking me this. Okay, I gotta back up. Welcome to the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast. Over there is my partner Russ from the wilds of Tennessee. I'm Big Koop from the Pacific Northwest, and we are here to educate you and entertain you tonight. Russ, you're probably asking yourself, why did Koop start the podcast off? Because many of you don't know, Koop is not only the co-host, he's the engineer and producer of this show. And
Russ shows up and says stuff.
I'm the one that has 10 gigabytes worth of old data on my external hard drives of this show. But it's all good. It's a labor of love. Are you asking yourself why I played that song, my friend?
Is it because it's the number one song of 1932?
1932. That was Ted Lewis and his band in a shanty in an old shanty town. One of my favorites of all time. I tell you, I think about that song constantly, Russ.
I go to sleep to it.
Yeah, I do too. Actually, I admit I have a little bit of a soft spot since I've studied music a lot in my educational background, not as a major or anything like that, but just because I was always interested and was in bands and I was in orchestra and all that stuff. I have a thing for swing and big band music and stuff like that. Not a huge
I like the
thing.
big band music, but I can't do anything musical myself.
Yeah. No, I do like it. It's on a limited basis. It's not something I listen to every day, but certainly some fun stuff. Although, let me play you one more video, and I think you're going to recognize one of the top 10 songs, and you may even like it. Top 10 songs of 1932. Here we go. One of the ultimate. We won't wait to get to his vocals.
Oh, but yes, I do recognize that song, but do you know why I recognize that song?
Why do you recognize that song? Because it's
one
of
the
all-time
theme song of a Steve Martin movie.
Yes, with what was her name? Lily Tomlin.
I'm trying to remember. I would have said her name if I remembered, but I don't remember it.
Lily Tomlin.
Yeah. Lee Thompson. What?
Tomlin. Tomlin.
Tomlin, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, called All of Me.
All of Me when I take out by the great Louis Armstrong and his orchestra. Um, this is when a lot of music that kind of hung on until our childhood. You heard a lot of it in the background of stuff. It's kind of funny to think 1932. A lot of Guy Lombardo. Bing Crosby was getting huge. He had like 5 songs in the top 15. So kind of an interesting. You see where the music was starting to go then. I'm finding this kind of more interesting than I thought I would, to be honest with you. Kind of the
Okay.
evolution. What cracked me up though is that I found lots of examples of Scott Joplin doing blackface 4 years before this, but I can't find any live shit on these guys.
Amusing.
It's kind of interesting. All right, let's move along, shall we, Russ?
That's
1932 in film, 1 through 10, The Sign of the Cross, which I saw that in one of my film courses. It's the third in the trilogy by Cecil B. DeMille. You're familiar with him? The Ten
I've heard of him.
Commandments.
Yeah,
The Ten Commandments, the King of Kings. He's the one that the elaborate sets,
yeah.
and like the chariot races, and when they show the Christians dying in the Nero Circus in this movie, there's actually real lines actually killing Christians. Okay, I made that part up, but this day and age, it wouldn't surprise me. Um, but
All the practical effects.
there'd be a lot of people behind that right now. But it was yeah, it was interesting. I was curious as to the amount of money that went around back in those days. So um that was the number one movie, and it brought in approximately, let me see, make sure I get this right. I think it was 2.7 million. I think I'm just going to believe myself because I can't find my page. 2.7 million in today's dollars, that would be about 63 million. Um,
Yep.
and I'm sure the sign of the cross cost, I mean, with all the elaborate sets and all that stuff, but it's probably a 2000% return on investment, I'm sure it
Well,
made.
and you got to remember, there's a couple of other things that make that number more impressive. First of
Mhm.
all, the cost of a ticket was like, a dime. It
Right,
cost less than
right.
a quarter to go to a movie. And you weren't getting a lot of syndication or, extra. It wasn't going on TV and getting ad dollars. When it was in the theaters, that was how it made its money.
Right. Right. And another thing, 1932 was one of the very worst years of the Great Depression. And by all measures, the economy and stuff. Of course, we'll talk about some events that shepherd this in. Kind of an interesting. It's funny. These are 1932 movies, but I've seen a few of these. Hell Divers. You ever heard of that one?
No, that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, it was Clark Gable, and I can't remember, but it was basically about I can't remember the name of the aircraft because this is in between World War I, World War II, where our Army and Army Air Force and stuff was a shadow of what it was in World War I, because that's what we always used to do with our standing military. Just
Yep.
completely demobilize everybody after every war, and then we had took us years to get back on our feet again. But it was dive bombers. It was about two guys that were dive bombers, and it was kind of like Pearl Harbor, where they were both in love with the same woman.
Oh,
So
okay.
Pearl Harbor totally stole that.
Yeah,
The only
that
thing,
that movie should have been renamed Two Guys, a Girl, and a Japanese Attack.
yeah, it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, anyway, you want to watch a good movie about the bombing of Pearl Harbor, watch that Midway movie that came out about 4 years ago. It's fantastic.
Okay.
Very accurate. I love Woody Harrelson as Bull Halsey too. You got to love that.
Oh,
It's
I need to see that. I haven't seen that.
yeah, it's
Seen the
really
original
good.
Midway, but I haven't seen the new one.
Dennis Quaid. No, he plays Halsey. Woody Harrelson plays the Navy command. What's his name? The admiral that was in charge of the Pacific Theater.
Nimitz?
Nimitz. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. He plays Nimitz. There's a lot of good acting in it. I would really encourage you to watch it. It's not overly graphic either, so it's something if your girls were there, they wouldn't get freaked out about.
Okay.
Just a good war movie. Um, okay, let's see. Tarzan the Ape Man came out. That was
Okay.
one. Yeah, Johnny Weissmuller. I'll never forget that
Yeah,
because it's
I knew
real.
it was Johnny something. I couldn't remember
Yeah,
the.
he was an Olympic athlete. Remember, he was, I think, a gold medal
Yep.
swimmer, if I remember right.
Yep.
Okay, let's get out of film. Let's go to popular books. Just real quick. One of the most seminal books ever, one of the granddaddies of modern science fiction and the cyberpunk type sci-fi, which I do enjoy, is number one, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley.
Okay.
Have you read that? I'm not calling you
I've
out. I'm
seen
just
I've seen most of the movie.
most of the movie. Yeah, Aldous Huxley is an interesting read. Definitely 1932 style prose, but really, really good. It just kind of started that whole idea, dystopian,
Yeah.
psychological manipulation of the population. I mean, it had a reproductive technology, ethics. It had a lot going on. Number two, I thought was interesting was Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder, the first in the Little
Yeah.
House.
My girls have read that one.
I never read them, but of course, as a kid, I was addicted to the show. That's like all that was on, shows like
Yeah.
that. So,
It was
and
watching the show that got my girls to read the first book and then end up reading all the way through Little House on the Prairie.
right, right. Why am I blanking on his name? The guy that played
Michael Landon.
Michael Landon. It was kind of funny. Charles Ingalls, he played the dad, Charles Ingalls.
Yep.
And in my household, with the assholes that hung around, if I got upset and I started crying, they'd go, "Oh, look at little Charles Ingalls! Look at because he cried. He cried in like every episode ever."
Yeah.
Um, and William Faulkner leads the charge. Agatha Christie is in here, three Agatha Christie's, and our guy Vladimir Nabokov, "Laughter in the Dark," which is a book that
Yeah, I know. I got a picture of him on my wall.
do you?
Yeah. Big poster.
Does it have like some 13-year-old girl standing there, sitting there on his lap?
No.
Oh, you know what I'm referring to, Lolita,
Yeah.
the book. Yes, the "Don't Stand So Close to Me." That's what the police
The,
song was
the,
about.
the only one I don't remember who played Lolita, but the movie that I've seen snippets of had Jeremy Irons in it.
I think that's right. I think that's right. I'm one of those that always thought Jeremy Irons was completely overrated because he was just Jeremy Irons in every role. Um,
That's fair.
yeah. I don't hate him, but I was just like, he's just the same guy in every role ever. Kind of like Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks can suck my balls. I know it's not popular, but I don't like Tom Hanks. All right, let's get out of that real quick. There's a couple of interesting things about 1932. I think we're doing good on the Willis time here. I think I'm speeding right through this. Just to sum it up, I am reading. This is not me. This is from a History Channel, a year in history summary. One of the worst years of the Great Depression. 1 in 4 Americans lacked work. That's crazy, incredible.
Yeah,
25%.
25%.
That is just
You think unemployment's bad during some times now? I mean, 25% unemployment is
well, we
horrific.
think 4% unemployment is terrible now.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
during the Great Recession of 08, 09, didn't they get up to like almost 6%?
I think so. And we're considering that fucking like the ceiling of death. And yeah, this was 25% of people didn't have
Yeah.
jobs. Wow.
Red
Crazy.
lines, soup lines.
It's funny, nobody was telling people I'm gonna fucking like I'm not getting my EBT, I'm gonna kill you for your groceries. Oh wait, I have a big screen TV and a fucking iPhone 37. So what are you looking at me for? Um, let's see. Of course, 32, the one of the big events that shaped American history was Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected for his not one, not two, not three, but 4 terms.
Yeah. Well, hey, something about that real quick. Because I went back and looked. In 1928, Herbert Hoover was elected in a landslide. He won 444 electoral votes.
Okay.
The guy he was running against, I think it was Al Smith of New York, I think,
Mhm.
only won
It was.
87, only won like no 89, something like that, 89 or 87, in the high 80s of electoral votes. So that's a pretty big landslide. You turn around 4 years later, and Hoover lost, getting less than 80 electoral votes, and Roosevelt got 472.
Hmm.
So quite the swing in 4 years.
And that's you got to keep those lessons in history close to your pocket, baby.
I mean, everybody lots of folks think that the swing from 20 to 24 was big. Nah, the swing from 28 to 32 was enormous.
Right. I didn't remember that Hoover had that huge of a margin. I knew it was a big margin, but yeah, that kind of puts it in perspective.
Yeah, when all like the vagabond camp stuff were called Hoovervilles.
Right. Right. Yep. That'd be cool if like all the cool stuff now were called like Trumpvilles. That'd be cool.
Yeah, but I mean, but one of the other things is you got to remember that the Great Depression wasn't a localized American phenomenon. It was a global
It
deal,
was.
especially it
Sure.
hit Europe especially hard.
Yeah, it did. I know, and you never hear about the history of that either. But when the world's biggest and wealthiest stock market crashes, that's an international stock market. It's kind of a big deal. It's going to affect
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah. Yeah, we could dig into the eaches on that, but we won't. Let's see. Amelia Earhart flew the Atlantic.
Okay.
Her predecessor, Charles Lindbergh, unfortunately, had his kidnapped his son, and that ended with his son actually being murdered. Horrible tragedy.
One of the big kidnapping cases, it was a state case. It was in New Jersey. Do you know who the cop was who led the
Yes.
investigation?
Yeah, I mean I do, but go ahead.
The father of Norman Schwarzkopf.
Yes, that's right. I knew it was Army, something to do with the Army. I couldn't
Herbert
dial it.
Herbert Norman Schwarzkopf. And the reason I know his name is because uh, his dad only went by Norm or Norman, but because his name was Herbert, he had to have Herbert put on all his army records, and he named his son, gave him a gave him an initial only. That's why he's H. Norman Schwarzkopf because he didn't like being called Herbert.
I can imagine. Even back then, wouldn't that suck to be called Herbert?
Well, especially after Herbert Hoover
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. It's not a good name in any. It's like the modern version of like Gary,
or Chet.
Chet. I know. God, Randy works with a guy that goes by Chip and he's like 60.
Oh
Stop
my
it.
God, no!
Stop
Chip
it.
Chip went out of style when you were like 15.
And I'll be honest, this is going to piss some people off and I don't care. But at some point, it like it says in the good book. I'm going to say the good book. Um, we turn our back on childish things, right? It's all
Yep.
about becoming a man, accepting responsibility. That's right there. Right there in the scriptures. It talks very specifically about it. And when I meet somebody that's like in their 40s and 50s and they go by like instead of John or Jonathan, they're Johnny or Timmy or Tommy or any of those kind of things, I think you're probably an alcoholic and you have no idea how to actually use like a laptop. I just would automatically think. Or your mom still calls you every night to tuck you in over a
Yeah, so that was about what I was gonna say is your mom calls you either, when you get home from visiting her, or what should you call her when you get home from work or something like that.
some lady. Oh, and she's a cool chick. I give her shit, but I've been getting lots of lab work done. So about 20 minutes from here is a lab core that I go to. And the first time I went in there, she goes, "Oh, okay, Tony." And I go, "Oh, fuck no. Does it say Tony on that paperwork right there?" I'm just like, "No, that's a little kid's name. Sorry. No, no. That was no, I hate that name. When people call me that.
That name is great.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think I told you the one time a girlfriend of mine introduced me to a guy that worked for her. Nice guy, but this is my boyfriend Anthony. Oh, okay. Do you go by his name was Glenn? Do you go by Tony? And I go, I don't know. Do you go by Gla? No. Okay. I think I answered your question. Oh, I'm sorry. I said, no, I'm just yanking your chain, but it's all right. But I goes, now he goes, now you made your point. It was kind of funny. All right. We're getting rid of 1932. We're moving on to today. So I'm gonna get rid of a couple of minor little deals because we have a couple of gay pink 300-pound gorillas in the room to discuss.
That's quite the visual.
Well, I don't like to say elephant in the room because I like elephants. And I hate monkeys. So
Maybe it could be the ring-tailed lemur in the room.
I like lemurs. They're all right. They're not. Are they monkeys though?
I think so. Maybe we go with
Oh,
meerkats.
meerkats are cool. They're not monkeys though. Meerkats aren't they related
No.
to like prairie dogs and shit?
Yeah. I just like them when they all the four of their heads bop up at the same time.
I know meerkats are awesome. Prairie dogs aren't nearly that cool. Prairie dogs are their fat American cousins. They're just like, hey, dude, could you check out the hole over there? See if anything's out there. I gotta piss. Fuck you. You do it, man. Ah. All right. Anyway, I don't know why a prairie dog got me all so excited to do that impression of a prairie dog. That's a first. That's a podcast first. All right. What we're going to do, we're going to play a video and talk about some low-hanging fruit here, but stuff I want to talk about. So, you've heard a little bit of, I'm going to play two videos back to back. You've heard a little bit about this controversy that was going on with the Gold's Gym and the
Oh
video
yeah.
that was the guy that walked in there and the black lady wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Are you Did you tell me or not that women like to see
I'm
dick?
the guy asking you a fucking question.
Exactly. Get out of the way now. No. Now he knows how to be a man, right? Now he knows how to be a man. Stay out of the women's locker room. We don't want it. He needs to have his gym membership revoked for that shit. And the woman told you. He assaulted me. The girl told already. We already filed reports. No.
That's fine. I want the video.
You can't get rid of me for this. I'm a woman and I have every right to not want a man in the restroom when I'm naked. There are girls naked in there. Look at them walking in there like it's okay. It's not okay. I understand. I'm not causing.
Okay, I got another video to play real quick, but just real quick comment a piece here. Number one, had I been in that Gold's Gym, that guy would have not had a jawline left. I'd have fallen there, and he and some subway tile would have become really good friends. I don't know why men aren't fucking standing up for women. A bunch of fucking pussies. That big black guy got in his face, but I think he worked there. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't see it. But yeah, you see it on the video. This fucking disgusting human being doesn't look anything. Not even trying. He's got an earring in, and he's just
got an earring, but he's still wearing men's workout clothes. Is what it looked like.
Yeah, men's haircut, no makeup, no nothing. And here, let me play the second video where this lady reacts even more to it. And I'll explain the context of this lady who was absolutely pissed off.
Gold's Gym! Men! Grown men with big dicks in the women's locker room! And that's why I'm getting kicked out. And I want to make sure the girls know. The fuck? Everybody saw that man in the fucking locker room. No one's saying shit. And I'm fucking done with it. It's fucking stupid. It's dangerous. Me making in front of a man without my permission. I ain't the one who gets kicked out the gym, y'all. I'm terminated for not wanting men in the locker room. And that
normally I would say shut up, quit making, but she has every right to make a public scene.
Yeah.
None of those fucking pussies, men or women in there, even have the courage to look at her or support her.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is nobody even acknowledged her. She was making, she was calling attention to it. Now this was in California.
Of course,
Shocking.
of course. Love you Californians. No, I mean I do love some of you Californians, but
I think there's twofold on who should be bringing this stuff up. First, you're right. The men in there are not men. Because they should be defending the women who don't want to, be naked in front of a man in their locker room. That's what a real man would do, is protect female virtue.
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
The second thing, and this woman is one of the few I've seen that's actually willing to stand up against this, is we need women to make a stand as well. A lot of this stuff in sports doesn't end until women, and it has started to go this way, but women have to stand up against it. They have to make a stand too. Now, a lot of women are non-confrontational. I get it. But that's what a lot of the perverts are counting on. You said something earlier about the guy going in the locker room, wasn't even trying. He had earrings in, but he still looked like a man. And I agree with you on that point. But I want to make another point. I don't care if he had earrings. I don't either. Lipstick, a wig, everything. He's still a biological man with a big dick. Okay, they don't need to be doing that. You are not a woman. I'm sorry that God made you a man. Sex is dichotomous, with the exception of genetic deformities like Klinefelter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that there are genetic anomalies that occur.
Yeah, one out of every 50 million or something like that.
Yeah, but noting that there are rare genetic anomalies does not abrogate the fact that humanity is a sexually dichotomous species. It'd be like saying that because some people are born with 6 fingers on one hand, people don't have 5 fingers usually. People have 5 fingers. The presence of the 6 doesn't mean that you make accommodations for. You don't make 6-fingered gloves and put them in stores.
Yeah, the famous cherry picking that the left loves to use to illustrate a point. Let me show you the 0.10% and pretend that's mainstream. That goes for everything that's been in the trans movement and everything else. It's
also the fact that the vast majority of the people that are cosplaying as women don't have Klinefelter syndrome. They don't have genetic anomalies.
No.
The folks will try to point to this as an outlier, similar to the pro-choice folks who will try to point to rape and incest, despite the fact that's less than 0.5% of all abortions. Right. Most folks who are doing the trans thing they're cosplaying. They have no genetic anomalies. They've got a mental condition.
They have a mental condition. They have, at best, a really deep kink, sexual
Mhm.
kink at best. And I have spent a lot of my adult life um, in graduate level programs, mental health graduate level programs. I am a graduate mental health program myself.
I wasn't going to say it.
Just ask some of my providers who have written entire doctoral theses about me, and that's absolutely true. That actually happened. Somebody got her doctoral thesis because for of me by treating me.
Wow,
Um,
that's quite the bragging point.
her and I would joke about that a lot. She was lovely, wonderful counselor. Yeah, she was great. But yeah, she thanked me. She sent me a note saying I wanted to thank you for finally getting my PhD because she saw me when she was a PhD candidate. And you
When
gave
your
me so much
therapist
great
walks out of therapy and needs
you
a
gave me so
therapist
much
herself.
great information to you. It's like, yeah, having to separate all the layers was not easy, was it? Anyway, so this lady's self-described lesbian. Um, and not that that matters, but that's something you have to consider in there too. I mean, you have females, and you got females that. How can I put this? How can I put this without getting killed on YouTube? Well, I can put it actually fairly politely. There's a lot of trauma among a lot of females when it comes to deal with having to deal with men. Okay, a lot of
Mhm.
these women are going to have had traumatic experiences. Can you imagine a woman that say had was sexually abused at some point in her life, and a man just goes in there and starts swinging his Johnson around in front of her in a locker room, and a locker room one way in, one way out? I mean, I can't even imagine the traumatic response that some, and I'm not
Yeah.
being funny here at all.
No,
I
that's
I
real.
100% believe this, and I'm very protective over people that have emotional trauma, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I hope this lady, whoever she is, sues the shit out of Gold's Gym. Of course, it's in California, so
California, she'll lose it.
she'll lose it. But enough, really? Aren't we past this? And look, men, I guarantee you, if I'd went in that locker room behind him and I would have said, "Man on the floor, ladies, could all you ladies leave? I'm going to talk to this person." And I guarantee you, I wouldn't have been. I would have said, "Okay, what I need you to do, I'm going to huddle in the middle of you, and I need six of you to walk, and I'm going to be in the middle, throw something over my head. I'll go Sharia law and sneak out." I would have. There's no way I would have put up with that. That I would have stood there, and there was dozens of people just standing there
Just
doing nothing.
cowards.
Yeah, no, I would have. I would have.
California is full of cowards.
I'm telling you, I know you're not supposed to advocate violence, but violence never solved anything except for defeating fascism in Nazi Germany
Stopping
and
slavery.
you stopping slavery, stuff like that. So, yeah. All right, let's move along, shall we? I just can't believe we're still this twisted. I guess the bottom line is it's to
Well, woke,
2025. Stop it.
woke is not going to go down without a fight.
Oh no, they're fighting with their last breath. Good old woke. Okay. Um, so let's talk about one of those gay peak what do I call them? Gorilla? Gay
gorilla, I think.
gay pink 300-pound gorilla. Are gorillas 300 pounds? They're probably more. They look like they're
Probably
more.
more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that guy that played um oh, he passed away. The big black guy that played the Stephen King movie with Tom Hanks where he's a prisoner.
Oh, Michael Duncan. Michael Duncan.
Was it Michael Duncan? Anyway, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
Enormous
do.
black guy, really, really good actor. He passed away, unfortunately. Um, he was like 365 pounds. So I think a gorilla is a lot bigger than 300 pounds now that I think about it. Because that guy was
Yeah, I
huge, but
don't
he
know.
was no adult silverback male gorilla, that's for sure. Um, uh, I realized how close I got to committing some type of really bad move right there and saying all that. But I didn't
Yeah,
mean it
that
like
probably
that.
was not the right analogy to make.
I'm
Michael Clark Duncan.
literally thinking about a huge man that I can think of and then comparing. Yes.
Andre the Giant might be a better comparison to a silverback.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to have acromegaly to get silverback status, apparently.
Yeah.
The guy that played Jaws in the James Bond movies, that guy was pretty big.
Oh yeah. But he was also in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, his son was.
No, I think that was him. I thought that was him.
No, that's his son. I actually saw the little
Oh
documentary
really?
thing. Yeah, that was his son.
Okay.
Yeah, which is cool. No, okay, I'm sorry. Happy Gilmore 2, it was his son. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah, it was
say.
Happy Gilmore 2 is his son.
My bad.
Happy
You were
Gilmore.
talking about the yeah, that was him. That was
That's
him.
about the good one. Yeah.
His actual son played him in the sequel, which was great because he did look like his dad, just a skinny version of his dad. That was funny. Okay, so we had election night yesterday, and things obviously didn't go the way you and I would like, but I didn't think they would. I had no expectations in those very blue areas that Republicans were going to win anything. I just want to say before we talk about this in detail, I did not pull any video of Mamdani giving him his Sharia law speech when he won, where he reversed all of his stuff, and now you see the what we all saw, the demonic Islamic that he is. But I did want to show because, dude, I woke up a little late. I didn't get to my little spiritual time, my little worship time until I had a chance to kind of review some stuff online, and I was sitting here shaking. I felt that rage behind my chest. Not because he won, just because of things I was seeing from people and the abject stupidity. Let me give you an example of how mother stupid women on the left are. And this was what all these were decided by young women on the white women on the left, all of them. Yeah, women's suffrage, baby. I don't know if I had a time machine. I might go back. Kidding. Well, only half kidding. Here we go. Let's look at this. Look at these dandies. Look at these. God, I want to have children so bad with these women.
Sharia law starts now. Absolutely. Zahran Mamdani, Islamic Caliphate, our brother in Islam, Islamic Caliphate of New York, starts today, baby. God, there's just...
Okay, and I can't even watch that fucking cunt that follows them. So you got these girls in a cafe in New York celebrating the institution of Sharia law. Just like the words fascist, just like fucking Nazi, just like any of these phobe, just like any of these words these fucks like to use, you have no idea, you stupid 10-cent headed bitch. You little shit that grew up protected and coddled and had everything handed to you because of people that worked their fucking ass off to build this country. Most of those guys looked like Russ and I. I like to say that. And that's not being racist. That's just being, white guys don't have anything to apologize for. That's capitalism that gave that to you, not socialism. Do you think you'd be sitting in that place paying fucking $20 for a cup of coffee and celebrating Sharia law if it wasn't for capitalism, you stupid bitch? I'm enraged. Not so much. I mean, the guy is a demon. We all know that. He's disgusting. But the reasons that people voted for him and just the look, I'll wrap it up and let you talk about this. The public school system and the school system in America has failed. There's no such thing as civics. People obviously don't take American history or take American history by teachers that are either objective or at least have a patriotic leaning like I grew up enjoying. Let me tell you something that I told somebody today. We have failed, and by we, I mean Gen Xers. I don't have any biological human kids. And thankfully you do and you're raising them right. But we have fucking failed the world in the way that we raised kids for this. The millennials looks like they may be doing things even worse. We have failed. We have not prepared kids for the world. And the kids go out there, the helicopter parents, this goddamn Dr. Spock. I hope he's burning in hell for that fucking book that changed everything forever. I still blame him. It's disgusting. These girls are Sharia law. Do you know what Sharia law means to you, Tuts? Do you think you're going to be out at a bar wearing a strapless little whatever you were wearing and drinking and toasting? You think that's going to happen? You think that's going to happen under Sharia law? That's going to be just fine. You can say whatever you want to. You can do all the... No, you fucking idiot. Anyway, I'm enraged by the reaction. I'm enraged for another reason, too, that you may bring up. I'm enraged at Republicans. I'm enraged. It's not like there's not enough Republicans that could have done something about this, but this was a throwaway. Everybody, ever since this Mamdani guy got popular, everybody's like, oh, he's going to win. We give up. He's going to win because he's young and eloquent and all. Fuck you, man. Look what that did to us. That stuck us with 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Biden having that kind of attitude. Because you had an empty-headed anti-American guy, Obama. I don't care what you say. He got up there and wore a polo shirt in the fucking Oval Office and, hey guys, we're gonna do some really good things, guys. Only you didn't do anything except make the racial divide in this country fucking terrible. And so you're largely to blame for all of this. I think I've said enough, Russ. What do you think? I could go
Okay,
on.
so I got a few thoughts.
Now I'm pissed, man.
First of all, I heard a term for what those women were like over the last few days, and it's apt. Suicidal empathy. They are
Interesting.
they so want to be seen as virtuous, they so want to be seen as relatable and cool that they have no idea what they're actually voting for. Because if you look at the exit polls, did an issue panel as well. The folks who voted for Mamdani, most of them actually oppose his policies. The removal of the gifted programs in New York public schools, the defunding of the police, even making the buses so-called free because they're afraid that they're going to get them turned into roaming homeless shelters.
Yeah, they will. They absolutely will.
It's funny that Mamdani is making all these promises about raising taxes. He doesn't have the power to. He's going to have to convince the New York State legislature to do that. He doesn't have the power to raise the taxes on the folks he says he's going to. So there's that. I was afraid that Curtis Sliwa was going to play spoiler, but if you look at it, Mamdani got more than 50% of the vote.
Yeah, he did.
So
He did.
Sliwa did not play spoiler. It's not surprising to me. I think George Will put it right when he said, every generation or so, we need a small, contained experiment in communism to remind the rest of us how shitty it is. I think, a year from now, New York is going to look bad. And I mean, like, really bad. I think 2 or 3 years from now, Mamdani may guarantee a Republican victory because the Republicans are already starting to make him the face of the Democratic Party, him and AOC, and they should. What he's going to do is horrific, and I mean he's never had a real job. He's a failed rapper who comes from privileged parents. He was in the New York State legislature somehow, but he's never had to work in the private sector.
Just real quick, did you see his voting record when he was in the New York legislature?
I did not.
He missed 70% of the votes
That does not surprise me.
because he's a lazy silver spoon mommy fucking pays for his rent little C word.
Yeah, and I don't think he has any idea what he's getting into as mayor. He doesn't have a
Right.
clue what's going on. He's on record as opposing capitalism. He's on record saying seize the means of production and saying globalize the intifada. I actually got into it on Facebook with some folks who are like, well, you're being bigoted against Muslims. No, I'm talking about that one, the one who supported the Holy Land Five, who were, a cover for Hamas. Okay, it's, Mamdani said globalize the intifada.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, he did. I
this
actually
stuff
saw.
is coming.
I didn't record it, but I specifically remember seeing it in a news something. I can't remember
You
what.
can see it on
Podcast or
YouTube.
whatever.
You can Google it. You can see it on YouTube. It's not hard to find. So now a couple things. So my sympathy from New Yorkers is not high. You voted for this. You're gonna learn to live with it. Uh, I I like this though. This made me laugh. Governor Abbott of Texas made a joke about imposing a tariff or
I
a
saw that.
tax on New Yorkers trying to move to Texas. The left lost its mind.
The
Like, you
left is
can't
so
do that.
fucking stupid.
It was a joke, folks. It was a joke
They're
because
so fucking stupid. They can't meme. They don't have a sense of humor. They're fucking terrible.
yeah. Now I made a similar joke about how anybody that wants to move out of New York, before they're allowed to move out of New York, they have to check their voting records. If they voted for Mamdani, then they have to stay. It doesn't help that.
And by the way, folks, he's joking. Russ is an American. He doesn't believe in that kind of government oversight, everybody. But it's a valid point in its own way, guys.
Yeah. Take the stick out of your asses, folks. It was a joke, but it's still maybe not. Maybe it should happen. Anyway,
Right. In our dreamland, in Koopganistan, that would be the rule.
yeah. Now the other thing to remember about Mamdani's victory is look who he was running against. I
Right.
mean, Curtis Sliwa, he's a fine guy, but he's
No, he's a
one of
good
the
he's a
more
good
fringe,
guy.
but he's one of the more fringe Republicans in New York. He wasn't going to get more than 10% of the vote anyway, and he didn't.
Right.
And Andrew Cuomo, the disgraced former governor who was killing grannies and smacking fannies on his way out, if that was the most viable alternative, then New York, maybe you deserve to get the shit you're going to get.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you couldn't put up anybody that could actually oppose Mamdani, uh, credibly, which
Hmm.
is pathetic. You're a city of how many? 10 million people? Something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but it's insane that you couldn't find somebody in there that
No,
could
it is.
credibly oppose. But
It
it's
is.
also, if you notice, native New Yorkers did vote for Cuomo. While it was the suicidal empathy of a lot of the young single women that voted for Mamdani and gave him the stuff to put over the top, I want to say like 62% of his voters are foreign born, which does say something about
Yep.
importing a voting base. Now,
No, you got it. You got it. That's exactly right.
now on the bright side, even though yeah, I don't know if we're talking about the rest of the election now anyway, but I'm gonna start. The On the bright side, in Minneapolis, while Jacob Frey is a left-wing lunatic, at least he managed to win and beat Omar Fatah, who Fatah was at a rally speaking in Somali and waving Somalian flags and saying his loyalty was to Somalia.
Right.
And he came within a hair's breadth of winning. So at least Frey was able to win there. Now, I want to say something about the rest of the election. For the most part, I was not surprised by the election and didn't care. I mean, okay, so blue states held serve in an off-year election.
Hmm.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
Right. It's not
I
that
mean,
surprising.
these are
I didn't.
states that Trump lost by 5 and he lost Virginia by, was it 8? Something like that. So, and then he lost New York City by like what 70 points. I mean, these are blue areas. The only election um that shook me a little bit was the Virginia Attorney General's race when Jay Jones managed to win that.
Yeah.
Um,
More
because
demonic bullshit.
the when Jay Jones was saying how comfortable he was with the deaths of children of people because those people disagreed with him. We're not talking about people who assaulted his mother or something. We're talking about people who disagreed with him on gun rights. And he was hoping that their children died. In any sane society, that would have been disqualifying.
Hmm.
So what it tells me is that the 51-ish% of Virginia voters that voted for that would be fine with my children dying. That makes them a threat. Okay, it tells me to stay out of Virginia. It makes them a threat.
It makes him an absolute threat. And one that, I don't think that anybody should be shy about holding back on if that's, it comes down to that. You want me and my children dead because I vote and I believe in a certain way. What if you were a Roman, you would throw me in the fucking Nero's circus. You would, if you had
Yeah,
that ability. You would. You'd throw my Christian ass into Nero's circus and let the lions maul me to death.
yeah.
Uh,
I think it's absolutely abhorrent that Virginians did that. I think it shows a lack of a soul for the voters in that who voted for him. I also think it shows malignant cancer that has grown from Northern Virginia.
you're implicit. You're implicit if you voted for him. You're an enemy of the state, in my opinion. You're implicit.
I the Virginia thing. Can remember as late as 2004, Virginia was a solidly red state,
Hmm.
and now it's solidly blue, and that's because of Northern Virginia. That's because of the outgrowth of the federal workers and
Right.
Washington D.C.
Right.
It's one of the reasons why. Look, there is absolutely no First of all, the federal government's larger than it needs to be, and we know that. But in this day and age, with our technology, there is no reason for such a concentration of power in one area. It made sense, you know, decades ago, and especially a century or two ago, when we didn't have means of communication and the internet and all this other stuff. If I was in charge, I'd love to see them move federal agencies out of DC. Keep a couple, but I'd move the Treasury to New York I'd move the Department of the Interior to Nebraska. I might keep the Department of State in DC. But I might move the Defense Department to Georgia. All of this stuff that you can spread this stuff out so it's not so concentrated. But Northern Virginia is a cancer in that state.
Mhm.
Now let's
Ow.
put
Ow.
some perspective, some context into
Fuck.
folks that are you okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Just
Let's
my
put some
usual.
some perspective and some context into the doomerism that's going on. This was an off-year election. The year after it's similar to what happened in 20 and 21, where Biden won and then Democrats were like, all right, we're cool, we don't need to show up. And that's how Glenn Youngkin won in Virginia and how Chitterelli got within a couple of points of Murphy in New Jersey. It was, it's an off-year election, and like I said, it was blue areas. Republicans felt smug. And all those that are predicting that this means great things for Democrats in the midterms next year, you got to remember, after 2021, people were predicting that red tsunami, the big red wave in 2022, and it turned into maybe a pink mist. And especially with the redistricting going on in places like Texas and North Carolina and Missouri and Indiana, I don't think it's quite the sky is falling like people want to believe it is. So take a deep breath. Blue areas, for the most part, held serve. The only one to really be pissed about is Jay Jones. And, uh, you know, stuff will move forward. We'll see what happens. Now, the worst part of this, and I got into a discussion on Facebook with a couple of folks about this, um, is I don't know what this does to the government shutdown. I think the government, we take opposite tacks on this. My friends on Facebook think that there's going to be a deal cut soon. My take is that I think the Democrats are going to dig their heels in. They're going to see this as a victory and they can get whatever they want. I think the shutdown goes, closer to Thanksgiving, maybe even December. I could be wrong. I freely admit I might get it wrong. I still, no matter what happens, I don't think Democrats reopen the government this week. I think they understand how nakedly partisan that would look. I think this goes into at least the middle of next week. I think it goes further, but folks like one of your wonderful reps up there in Washington, Pramila Jayapal,
Yeah, she's
is
awesome. I'm very proud of her.
yeah, she's saying that this is the time to dig their heels in and not give an inch. And I'm like, okay,
Good
well,
idea. Good idea.
we'll see. I mean, Bernie Sanders is talking about how this is the rise of the far left, and it might be, but I think Democrats in 2026, especially going to 2028, are going to discover that the rest of the country is not New Jersey and not New York City. The Democratic Socialists are not going to be playing well in places like, I don't know, Arizona and Nevada and Texas. May not even play well in Minnesota because is getting closer to becoming Minnesota was closer to a swing state this time than Virginia was.
Hmm.
So, that might start to change over time. I think everyone puts outsized importance on the off-year elections. I think you could put maybe more importance on the midterms next year, but an off-year election where Trump's not on the ballot and it's so hard to get people off their lazy asses to go vote. It also demonstrates the Republicans' need to get more into the early voting, the early mail-in balloting. Now, I personally despise early voting.
Yeah, I don't think it should exist. Period.
I don't think it should either.
It shouldn't. I'm sorry. You don't make it easy on people to vote. That's not the point of
No,
voting.
there
Voting
needs
is
to
a
be a
commitment.
duty. Look, I'm not saying make it super hard, but there's going to be a duty on the part of the voter to do something.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's so much that breaks in the last few weeks of a campaign anyway, like the Jay Jones texts.
Right.
I believe that the early voting had already started after that story broke.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
before that story broke. So,
Well,
I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's good for democracy. I think people do it because it's easy and it takes the burden off the voter, which is detrimental to the republic.
well, and we know that the mainstream media will be complicit in hiding anything that's detrimental to Democrats. Hunter Biden laptop is one of the biggest scandals in history, and nobody's getting indicted for that, which is crazy. And I saw recently was that motherfucker that got
John
confronted.
Brennan.
Yes, got confronted about it. There's so
He
much
does need to go to jail.
there's so much corruption that came from that administration. People are like, oh, Donald Trump is corrupt. Really, he doesn't need to be corrupt. He's one of the greatest businessmen in the world. He's a multi-billionaire and highly successful in anything he's ever done. He doesn't need to be motherfucking corrupt. He's got friends. We all do. If I was elected president, I would actually consider Russ Meyer as one of my cabinet guys. I would. I'm just saying. People you
I could be
trust.
Secretary of Defense. No,
What's that?
I probably should not be Secretary of State, though.
No, probably not. I think it like Secretary of Transportation, since you're in the transportation business now.
Yeah, well, I still think that.
Kidding.
Could you imagine me?
Kidding.
Could you imagine me as Secretary of State? Somebody comes in there and says, "We need to do negotiations." I'm like, "Go screw yourself."
I would be more deplorable than our guy Trump, actually, when it came to he plays the chess game and does the grip and does all those body language things and blocks them and gets in front of it. He's a genius at it. Me, I'd be like, motherfucker, that camera over there, you better motherfucking smile for it. Or I'm gonna take one of these fingers with me as a motherfucking trophy. You got it?
Yeah. After the hand grip on Macron, I'm surprised he didn't reach up with his other hand and like ruffle his hair or something.
I think it'd have been cool if he would have went like this and Macron wanted to get away from him. It was obvious and he was holding it. It'd be cool if he would have went and went like tickle, tickle, tickle to his balls.
Yeah. Or just tap him down there.
Yeah,
or as Macron passes by, give him a swat on the ass. Good job, man.
Good game. Yeah, give him a good game as he walked by. I would do that. Yeah. I wonder how well that would go over. I wouldn't care. I'd be like, you can be mad if you want, but I've got more nukes, more bombers, and the mightiest standing army in history. So fuck you. What are you gonna do to me?
Does Trump really care? I mean,
no, he doesn't.
Despite all the trollery about Trump 2028, he has said that he's not running in 2028.
Of course, he's not gonna run.
He's actually trolling the entire left with this stuff. So
Don Jr. has been doing it too. To be honest with you, he's been adding to that rancor.
But since he's not going to run in 2028, and this is his last term, why should he give a shit what people think?
No, he doesn't. I don't think he does. I mean, he's narcissistic enough where he needs to be praised and loved. But MAGA fucking, he's never been more loved by a group of people than MAGA love that guy.
Yeah, I keep hearing Democrats say, well, or liberals saying that. You got all these regretful Trump voters. I have not met a single regretful Trump voter. Not one.
Not one. No, I'd be honest about it. That's the thing about us Republicans, and we're going to segue into a new conversation here about Republicans, is that when one of ours goes off the reservation, we might be kind about it, but we want you to go the fuck away and not identify with you anymore. And that brings up my second video, or my fifth or sixth video, whatever it is.
Yeah. The next subject of the video.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I bet I know where this is going.
I think you know where this is going. And it's going to take me a second to queue up to the spot that... Did I write that down? Yeah, I did. Queue up to the spot that I want. So, yeah. Does that bring back any accuracy on your part here?
Yeah.
I'll start it right about here. For those of you who don't know who Nick Fuentes is, Tucker Carlson interviewed him recently, and it has caused a huge rift within the Republican Party and the conservative movement. So we'll talk about this after this video.
I'm a minority. I'm a religious ethnic minority. This is not really my home. My ancestral home is in Israel. There's like a natural affinity that Jews have for Israel. And I would say on top of that, for the international Jewish community. They're extremely organized. And many of them are critical of Israel or Israel's current government or the project of Israel. But I guess what they have in common, unlike, let's say, like Singapore, for example, is that they have this international community across borders, extremely organized, that is putting the interests of themselves before the interests of their home country. And there's no other country that has a similar arrangement like that. No other country has a strong identity like that, this religious blood and soil conviction, this history of being in the diaspora, stateless, wandering, persecuted, and in particular, the historic animosity between the Jewish people and the Europeans.
Let me fast forward this to a little bit. This gives you kind of an idea. So talking
my stomach turn.
What's that?
making my stomach turn.
He's trying very hard not to sound like a white supremacist who hates Jews here. He's trying to be but you can find it. You can feel it in the undertone and the overtone.
Man,
They're all in
absolutely.
charge. He's doing the conspiracy thing where, I know a lot of Jewish people, or at least I did, not so much, I lost contact. I know a few. I've never got the feeling that they wanted to control my life. My Jewish friends just kind of wanted to be Jewish and be Jews.
I don't think that's me saying the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. I don't think that's me being hateful.
I think it's him being hateful. The Jews, the Jews.
Disgustingly hateful, yeah.
Let me get Tucker. Tucker says something really fucking stupid right in here. Which
I think I know exactly what you're going to play because I've seen it.
The Christian gospel at Charlie Kirk's memorial service, and everyone's like, "You're an anti-Semite." I literally didn't have one thought about Jewish people. It had nothing to do with that. It was whatever. So, but I was thinking about this conversation, which I'm sure can't imagine what that in the ways that it will be distorted. But I do hope that people who want to learn what's happening and who you are will watch the whole thing. It's probably naive hope that it won't be reduced to whatever
the RNC again.
To sort of set aside community or group interests in favor of corporate interests, universal interests, national interests. And you have to do that or else it doesn't work. And so, I agree those attitudes. I mean, certainly in other parts of the world, people think this way, but you can't have that here. And so it's just important to remind everybody that, things may be generally true, but again, they're not always true. And there are people who just strongly disagree. And by the way, in the specific case of Israel, there are a ton of Orthodox who I know who are opposed to the state of Israel.
Bull fucking shit. I think he's telling a bald face.
Yeah, name one.
Name one. Well, he does. And then when you do the research on this guy,
they're just they're more Jewish than Dave Rubin. A lot more. And yet they oppose it. Jeff Sachs is like the most a wonderful man, the most who's Jewish and most articulate kind of critic of the state of Israel that I'm aware of.
Position.
What's that?
That's not an Orthodox position. Jeff Sachs does not hold an Orthodox Jewish position.
Thank you. You stole my thunder. Great job. Great pickup. That was the thing. It's a little bit subtle here. We always talk about drilling down a little bit and going to that layer underneath. Basically, he completely destroys his own premise by saying what he just said. I know a lot of Orthodox Jews who are opposed to the state of Israel. No, you don't, because within the definition of Orthodox Jew, they're going to believe. And this another thing, Zionism has become a dirty word, which is crazy. I know Matt Walsh hates me, and a lot of other people hate me because I do consider myself a Christian Zionist. And what does that mean? Well, studying most of my scripture and most of my upbringing as far as academic study of scripture, I'm going to a part-time to a very, very conservative Baptist university, as you know. That's not really my Christian views, but it comes from the Catholics, and the Catholics are very fed-stass. Matter of fact, I just read something today in the Catechism when I was doing my studying this morning that, the whole thing about, the New Testament negated the Old Testament. The Old Testament is no longer valid. No, because if you read, for instance, Isaiah, the books of the prophets, where he actually word for word predicts the coming of a Messiah and how he will come and who he will be, and talks about that. And the continuation, the old covenant with Moses and the new covenant with God through Jesus, they are exactly the same thing. They continue the process. Now, God's revealed himself in a very profound way in the New Testament directly by walking among. Now, this is Christian beliefs, folks. I'm not trying to convert anybody. We're having an academic conversation here. There is no separation between the Old Testament and the New Testament. And if you belong to a Christian church that says that, fucking leave. Leave now.
I got 3 things I want to say real quick on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the first one, remember, Jesus said, "I did not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it." Okay, right. He was to fulfill the pact, the covenant made in the Old Testament. Okay, so it wasn't a breakaway. Second, I just finished. I'm trying to get through the entire Bible. I admit I have not been able to read the entire thing. I'm still going through it. But I just finished the book of Judges not long ago. Uh-huh. It's a very detailed layout of the history of Israel over a few hundred years. Right. And then for those who claim that the Old Testament was all about wrath and conflict and anger, right now I'm reading the book of Ruth. It's a very small book of the Bible. It's only four chapters in Ruth, but it's a very kind and loving story. If you get into who Ruth was and go into Boaz and the whole thing there. So people who claim this, they don't know what they're talking about. They're cherry picking uh, parts out of the Bible and hoping that those that they're talking to have not read the entire thing and don't understand it. Now, I don't know if you have a clip in here. Do you have a clip of him talking about the Christian Zionists?
I don't. Go ahead.
Okay, well, he talks about
Since
people
I
he
just called
knows.
myself one, it's probably a good thing to talk about.
Tucker talks about people he knows, George W. Bush, Karl Rove, etc. He
Right.
says they're Christian Zionists, and I hate them probably more than I do, a bunch of, some of this other stuff. And I'm
He
like,
did say
dude,
that.
you are revealing just how absolutely hateful and bigoted you have become. Tucker used to be
Oh, fuck.
one of the voices on the right that we would use to break uh, help break the narrative of the left. But what uh,
Oh,
what he has become
hi, babies.
is
It's okay.
what Tucker has become is I don't know. He has platformed several very bad people, and you could talk about, well, he's just interviewing them. No, he's not. He's asking questions softball questions, by the way, that reveal what his actual beliefs are. He challenged Ted Cruz really hard when they were talking about Iran, but he won't challenge Nick Fuentes, who is a
Right.
known white supremacist on some of this stuff.
Right.
So from there are several figures that claim to be on the right that need to be divorced from the right. Tucker Carlson is one of them. Andrew Tate, the manosphere guy who talks in a very manly type of voice, and he's diagnosed a lot of problems properly, but his solutions are all shit.
Yeah.
Um, Candace Owens has gone off the deep end.
Yep. I was one of those few people that never liked her anyway. I always thought she was she punched up with her intelligence on her issues.
Well, first of all, she was interesting at first because she broke away from a prior liberal background.
Yes.
And so, she was talking about to, get off of the plantation, think for yourself, and that was good. But when she joined Daily Wire, one of the things I liked about Daily Wire was they used to have a segment called Backstage. Now it's changed, it's morphed into they call it Friendly Fire. But Backstage is where they had all the hosts and they would talk about the various issues. And she was on that a few times. And it was very obvious at that point that she had no business sitting in that company
Yeah.
because she did not have the intellectual fortitude to talk about the issues in depth in the way that folks like Jeremy Boring or Ben Shapiro or Andrew Klavan were discussing.
Or even, I will admit, this is big of me, even Michael Knowles.
Even Michael Knowles, yeah.
No, Michael Knowles is a very smart guy.
You just think he's smarmy and needs to get smacked in the mouth.
Yes.
But she did not have the intellectual heft to discuss the issues in depth. And it was very apparent during that kind of stuff.
Right.
And she's gone into conspiracy rabbit holes now, talking about how, well, there were some Israeli cell phones in the crowd at the Charlie Kirk rally, so obviously Israel must have killed him. There were like 12,000 people at that rally, and yeah, the University of Utah has some exchange students and has some students from Israel. That happens. I'm sure there were Chinese cell phones in the crowd too. That mean the Chinese killed him. We've caught the guy. He's going to go on trial, and he's probably going to get the firing squad. But Candace does this, and Candace is a grifter who does this stuff to make money. That's why she called, the wife of Emmanuel Macron a guy, and now she's having to face defamation court in France about it. But Tucker Carlson, I mean, he went off the rails when he softballed Vladimir Putin and sang the praises of Russian grocery store prices without providing the context of how much less money people in Russia make than they do in the United States. He needs to be banished. He is a drain on us. I will make two more points real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, notice the Republicans managed to get rid of Pat Buchanan. The guy was an absolute disruptive force in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
By 2000, he was a nobody.
Right.
They need to get rid of Tucker and Candace and folks like that, like they got rid of Pat Buchanan. Um,
I
and
100% agree, and I'm certainly never going to do anything that would promote them. Um, I feel almost kind of dirty, but I think we're doing it the right way and playing a video of him and Nick Fuentes together on this podcast. But we're doing it to point out their fucking bullshit and Tucker's illogic. He's not he doesn't Tucker's a bright guy, and I used to really enjoy listening to him because he's different. I mean, he's a weirdo, but he's very thoughtful. But he knows nothing about critical thinking because he steps on his own point and his own premises all the time. And I used to overlook it because he's on our side, so
yeah,
overlook it. But he's not on my side anymore. And like I said, in those two sentences, he completely undid his entire statement. Um, um, I guess he doesn't know what an Orthodox Jew is. I do. I have some friends that are. I've told you stories about the having the hots for my friend Joel's sister when I was
yeah.
at UW, and he's like, "Listen, kid, there ain't gonna be no Gentiles in the Hoist family. I'm sorry." And the Nazi and the Jew hung out together. We were best buddies, and he was far left, and I was far more conservative back then. That was back in the days when you could do that and just like each other. But yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, I was put in my place by that family. And I've always had an affinity for Jewish people because of the sense of community, the sense of I just the strongest, toughest people in the history of the world, in my opinion. They've survived more. You want to talk about what a genocide is, you dumb fucks. It wasn't what happened in Gaza. That's another word you don't understand the meaning of, genocide. I think I'm going to start on the Two Grumpy Bastards Facebook page. Ding, 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 ding. I think I'm going to start just like we'll start a little educational process with our listeners just to give them a little bit more tools. So actually define and discuss what each word like fascist and Zionist and all that stuff means. Zionist is nothing more than believing in a free state of Israel, that there's been a historical precedence that has been set that the Jewish people have a homeland that is theirs. It doesn't mean taking over Lebanon or Syria or Egypt or anything like that. It's leave them the fuck alone. We'll leave you alone if you leave us the fuck alone. That's as bad as Zionism gets. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not, I mean, that sounds about as American as it gets right there. It's like a free people choosing their own destiny and not fucking with anybody else. You got a problem with that, Tucker, and you Fox, you Candace Owens, you got a problem with that. So I'm sorry. It is logical to conclude that they're anti-Semitic because you don't want these people to have a country, a nationality. You don't.
Yeah. I want to make one more point about Tucker and
Yeah.
Candace and all these other folks is look, the danger that they represent is look at what happened to the left. The left let their crazies in
Mhm.
and wouldn't get rid of them, and now their crazies run the party.
Right.
Okay? They tolerated the AOCs and the Mamdanis, um, and a lot of the trans activists and stuff being like, we'll just bring them into the tent, but we got them under control. And now that is the Democratic Party. So if the Republicans aren't careful, I mean, I don't know if you saw that the president of the Heritage Foundation tried to split the baby on this, and now he's getting shit from both sides because he
Yeah.
apparently lacks the balls to make a stand.
Right.
The conservative movement managed to expel the John Birch Society in the '60s
Hmm.
over racism and things.
Right.
They got rid of Pat Buchanan. They need to get rid of this because we don't need these people running the party for two reasons. The first is that uh, we don't want to give uh, we don't want to turn into that. Okay, that's not what we want to turn into. We need to be small government conservatives that understand the equality of everybody, robust foreign policy, who our allies are and who they're not. And the second thing, just to be practical about it, is one of the reasons Trump won last year was not so much people voting for him, but people voting against the Democratic Party and Kamala. It's
Hmm.
not good politics to bring in people that are crazy and drive the normies away. I don't. We don't need to do that from an electoral standpoint because that's got the potential to be detrimental, uh, not just to the Republicans but to the country moving forward. Because if you've got two crazy parties, two insane parties, where do people go? Because you know, as long as the folks on the right are seen as more sane, then the normies have somebody to go to. But if both parties become insane, then the other insane party is going to win, every so often, and then you're going to get, real shit to eat.
that was the downfall you mentioned. I've mentioned a bunch of times. 92 is when I quit being a Republican because of the Pat Buchanan and that minority of very far right Christian fundamentalists was really trying to dig in and take a foothold in the Republican Party, and they were actually succeeding. And Pat Buchanan gave one of the most divisive, awful speeches I've ever heard at the
Oh
Republican
God, I remember
convention
that
in
one.
'92. And I really look back and think that is a big reason why they lost that election, because people were looking at it going, okay, this is the party of fundamentalist Christians and homophobes and a lot of other phobes and racists. And there was
Well, it,
reasons to think that based on some of the stuff that the far right
well,
was.
it's okay. It's okay to be a fundamentalist Christian, but just like it's okay to be a fundamentalist Muslim or an Orthodox Jew.
Orthodox
The
Jews,
question,
sure.
but the difference is when you want to impose that fundamentalism on everybody else, and it moves away from live and let live
Right.
to I'm now going to tell you how to live.
That's not a conservative value in any way, shape, or form. A conservative value is having, of course, having governors on this stuff, not, I mean,
Yeah.
things that regulate the activity and flow of something, not a politician. And decency and morality and all that kind of thing. And it's like ethics and laws don't. Are you kidding me? Laws come from ethics and morality. That's where they all come from. That's the Judeo-Christian Western civilization form of legalism, as they are born in your. It's fucking stupid to even argue that, but you still hear that argument all these years later. But it goes too far. In '92, it crippled the Republican Party.
Yep.
And one thing I'll just wrap this up. I watched Megan and interview Matt Walsh
hmm
today.
Matt is one of those that's no enemies to the right.
What's that?
Matt is one of those who says no enemies to the right.
Yeah. There's a couple of places I told you I like Matt Walsh a lot on a lot of his stuff. He's far more conservative than me. And I I gotta tell you, some of the things like his thing denying there's such a thing as mental health issues, mental illness,
Yeah.
suck it up and stuff like that. And I've written him many emails on that, about really you should come down and talk to some of the vets with PTSD and tell them your opinion on that. I'll set it up at the VA at American Lake if you'd like. Um, and like my ex-friend who's a retired teacher who says, there isn't a single policy that Trump has done that helps regular Americans. Yeah, all those five people that I know that either had kids or did die of fentanyl overdose might disagree with you about the border and the drugs coming across and how that's been shut down.
We'll talk
Anyway,
regular people. Look at the waiters and waitresses that
yeah, exactly.
have a tax exemption on tips now.
Yeah, and the economy is better off in every way than it was under the last administration. Every way. You can talk tariffs. We're still trying to figure that out, but the tariffs had a net positive effect in the first quarter that they were implemented. They did. I don't think it's going to stay that way, and I don't want to see them maintained, but I think they were an effective first strike for the world, for his vision of the world economy. Let me get back real quick to Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh. He basically, and this is where he and I completely have a separation, complete philosophical separation. We'll never see eye to eye. As he just says, and I hear all this stuff about Israel and this country. And well, actually, he talks like this. He tries to talk real tough and real stoic, uh, with his beard and his lumberjack, as he calls them, lumberjack shirts. Those aren't lumberjack shirts. They're logger. We're
Yeah.
loggers. We're not lumberjacks, you faggot. But the I don't really mean he is. I like him in a lot of ways. But when he says, I simply do not care what happens to Israel, I don't care. I don't care at all. It's that kind of isolation and that naive, immature isolationism. I don't know. Is he a Catholic?
He is.
Okay, I thought he was. And he considers himself more libertarian than Republican, I believe. I think he would label himself.
Maybe, but he's also he's much more socially conservative and wanting to do something about it than the most libertarians.
Well, you're right. You're right. And that's where he and I separate, is that ideally you don't do a fucking thing about anything social from a government standpoint, because you have a moral just society that you don't need to step in and do that. We're way the fuck off the charts on that. And it all goes back to my point about secularism and our separation from religion and all that stuff. But when he says things like, I don't care about Israel, I think he's fucking off his fucking tree, because you have to. You have to care about the only democracy in that part of the world, surrounded in every direction by people that want to kill them. So if it was up to him, then I guess we wouldn't have went and aided Europe in World War II or World War I. Guess we wouldn't have done that, huh? We just would have let the Nazis. I mean, seriously, that's where that attitude, that logical extension of that attitude. What should we care about Great Britain and France and Poland and every fucking
there were
thing
people
in Europe?
there were people in 1940, 1941 that were saying that.
Oh, I know. I mean, the Chamberlain himself, the piece of shit prime minister of England, was still trying to suck Hitler off way, 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 way
Well,
into.
in this country, I mean, we talked earlier about you mentioned Charles Lindbergh earlier. Charles Lindbergh was an isolationist who kind of played footsie with the Nazis.
He was a rigid anti-Semite. And there's you can't go back in history and put yourself in these, but it kind of surprises you. You look at some of like fathers of industry, like Gerald Ford, very huge anti-Semite. I read a book about the whole thing. The Ford, I thought it was fascinating about the invention of the the assembly line and all that stuff that he invented.
I mean, Henry Ford.
What did I say?
Gerald Ford.
Oh no, poor Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford was a nice man. He was a decent human being. He didn't deserve that. I'm sorry, Henry Ford. God, why didn't you stop? That's terrible.
I was wondering where you go. I was like, maybe Koop knows something about Gerald Ford.
No. For all intents and purposes, Gerald Ford was a decent human being who who was caught in a bad situation, having to inherit the presidency from Nixon. So you didn't have a chance to get reelected. But anyway, no, Gerald Ford was a decent human being. And he played college football and he was a stud, so you got to like him for that. Anyway, Walsh, I don't get that attitude, Russ. I don't get that, because things that happen everywhere in every corner of the world, it's the butterfly effect. It will come to our shores eventually in some way, either financially or even the day that if he's such a Catholic and he wanted to turn his back on all this worldwide suffering and just take care of his little fucking convent or commune that he's got with his 90 kids and his wife, that bakes cookies all day. Yeah, I'm taking a shot at you, Matt. That's great, but you got to care about something outside of that, because shit will come to bite you in the ass. And I want to take this back real quick to Mamdani. I disagree with you vehemently on one thing, and it's not a big deal, really, but I don't think that this is going to be an okay thing for New York and the conservatives and everybody to have done this, because California has been suffering from a socialist governor and socialist governors and a far left deal, and they are in ruins and nobody gives a fuck. They keep voting the same people in. And they've ruined California. California is fucking lost, just like Washington State practically. And it's like, but you still keep voting these. They voted a governor up here, Bob Ferguson, who's even further to the left than that fucking piece of shit that he replaced. He's a bigger piece of shit than the guy he replaced. And then I look at these people they're voting for, and it's like, I'm sorry, I'm going to vote for, and another thing, fucking Barack endorsing that white bitch in Virginia over Winsome Sears, who is a African-American female, very well qualified, but I guess we're not going to promote black women who might have a more conservative bent. And she's by far and away not a right-wing conservative, the candidate that lost in that race. But hey, Barack Obama is going to fucking support the whitest woman on planet Earth.
Well, that shows that Barack's, we need to get the brothers out to vote for Kamala Harris. It was meaningless. It was complete.
Yeah, the brothers didn't get out to vote for Winsome Sears, did they? And for all intents and purposes, she looked like a decent candidate. I did a little research, not a lot. But I'm just like, wow, you two-faced bastard sons of bitching lying cocksuckers. Did I get all my words in on that one? Because I can't believe the deviousness and the two-facedness. Like I said, look, I don't want not John Carlson. That's a radio talk show host years ago up here, ran for governor unsuccessfully. I don't want Tucker Carlson to be associated with me and my belief system on the right. I don't want Nick Fuentes to be any fucking where near me. Okay. Yeah. I may not be the most politically correct guy and all that kind of stuff, but in my heart, it's been hard the last 4 or 5 years to not feel. I'm being confessional here, not feel some racism and some pushback and some homophobia, if you want to call it that. That word doesn't exist in my lexicon because I'm not afraid of these fruitcakes. I just don't agree with how you live your life, and I think it's gross. Okay. And I hate that you promote where you put your genitals all the time. But I'm really, in my heart of hearts, I want people to get along. I want people to be decent people. I don't want Nick Fuentes, Tucker, Candace. I don't want them to be a part of the group that I'm in. I don't want them. And I don't have to. I don't have to listen to them, but I don't want them to have a voice for conservatism anymore because they embarrass me. Nobody on the left is embarrassed for voting for a guy who wants children killed and murdered. Nobody's embarrassed by that. Nobody's embarrassed by voting for a jihadi um, global I can't even say it. I'm upset. Say it for me, please.
Intifada.
Antifada. Thank you. Infantile something. Well, infantile is right. How do you have no shame, no conscience, no thinking, no. Let's take a look at this and see what's best. 100%. If I had a Republican running in my district that had some of these bed sores and this baggage that these Democrats have, there's no fucking way. If the Democrat was at least a little bit centrist, I would vote for the Democrat. I would cross party lines. Done it before.
We ran Steve King out of the party.
Yeah. What's that?
We ran Steve King out of the party when he made racist remarks. He was from Iowa, I believe.
Yeah, he was from Iowa. Yeah, and he should have been. It's fucking stupid. Even if you feel that way, are you not smart enough to keep it to yourself? Are you not smart enough to keep that part of yourself to yourself? I mean, what kind of narcissism is it to think that you can just say shit and it's okay? It's not. It's not okay, everybody. And it's not okay to be glad at people dying. It's not okay to wish people being dead because they disagree with you. I don't. Do I feel that build up rage behind my chest? And you know where that goes? I'm not going to describe it when I think of Mamdani and how much I'd love to be in a locked 10 by 10 with him for just even 180 seconds. Because then I could do my business and I could take a rest for 170 seconds. You know, just fuck. I hate the guy. I do. I have hatred in my heart because I hate evil. I hate evil. And he's evil. He's not just different. He doesn't just have a different point of view. What he represents and his point of view is evil. What they do is they dress it up with fucking sugar coating, right? They put frosting on top of it. Free buses and rent free. And guess what? Or not rent control. Guess what you just did? You made sure no developer is ever going to build housing in New York while you're there, while you're mayor, because they're not going to do it. So you're going to make the housing shortage worse. Do I think like housing prices need to be dealt with in some constructive way? Probably. I don't have the answer to that. I'm not smart enough in real estate or the business or how you would do that without in fact inflicting a little fascism. And socialism and fascism, guys, the difference between the two is one uses a little bit more tongue when they kiss. That's the only difference between the two. They really are the same thing. Like I said, one might actually like you give you a little foreplay before they rape you. But I think that's a good analogy. I mean, that's socialism. It's going to give you a little foreplay, but then you're still going to get raped. Fascism just rapes you. So I don't think I can say the R word on YouTube, so I might have to go back and look at that. But it's I'm being very serious. I'm not trying to be funny at all. I'm being very serious about it. It's the death of the soul when people do you watch these videos? And I realize I'm probably a little more woo-woo spiritual than you are, and that's okay. I've experienced some things in my life that have pushed me that way. I've seen actual. And
you might be surprised if we ever had an in-depth discussion on it.
Yeah, we'll have to do that when I do actually come to visit for reals after I get this hip built. But I'm very deeply spiritual, and I believe in good and evil. I absolutely do. I believe in that dichotomy of the world, and I've never ever experienced this much. And I guess social media and the way the media is doing it's probably always been there, but now they're free to roam. You know, the candy store is open. You guys can take whatever you want, and that's what happened under Biden. And they're still thinking, you know, this election, am I disappointed? Does it suck? Was I pissed off when I woke up this morning? Yes, but was it unexpected? Just like these are all deeply blue areas that on an off-cycle election that I didn't have a prayer that Republicans were going to win. You know, I thought maybe New Jersey might be tighter than it was because I thought we had a good candidate, but that didn't go well. Anyway, I'm sorry. I went all over the map on that, but
I want to make there's four real quick points I want to make. One,
four? Okay, ready? No, I'm kidding. Go for it.
So bringing to the New Jersey race real quick. Here's what Chittarelli demonstrated once again. Trump is the exception to this, and the only exception I can think of in my lifetime is second run candidates almost never win.
Yep.
Okay. You look at Washington State with Dino Rossi.
Right.
Okay. He came so close to Christine Gregoire, and then he could not. He got beat even worse 4 years later when he ran again.
That almost always happens.
Chittarelli's the same way. If your candidate loses, you need to be sent to the cornfield. Trump is the only exception I can think of in my lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know that I know any either. Not off the top of my head. I'd have to research that.
Yeah. So the other points I want to make first, I'm gonna put some nuance to what you said about Mamdani and the impact by bringing in California. I understand what you're saying that New York is going to be a shithole, California is a shithole. I get that. Okay, I'm not saying those places are going to turn around, but I'm saying their example to everybody else is where the impact is. I mean, Kamala Harris, one of the things she had going against her was she was from California. I don't think Gavin Newsom is electable nationally because of what California's become under his governorship. Okay? Those places, yes, will not have a good time. But when you can put that face on, say, Florida or Tennessee or Pennsylvania, I think it changes the dynamic because it's a different set of voters. Now, going back to what you were talking about, Matt Walsh, and why he doesn't see it, I think because Matt Walsh is very simple-minded. The isolationist,
He is.
we can take care of ourselves, autarky group and autarky means we can be self-sufficient. It is they don't want to see outside of the world. They are incapable of it because they think everything can be self-contained.
Right.
Well, experience and the world shows it can't be.
No.
But look, it's very appealing emotionally, and one of the reasons the simpletons are good at that is because they don't have to think outside. It's uncomfortable to have to think about a bigger picture. To have to think about second, third, and fourth order impacts of stuff. Walsh is not capable of that, which is why, at least not when it comes to international politics.
Yeah, he's so smart on other stuff, but
and there are a lot of isolationists like that, and a lot of them, I know I'm gonna piss off part of the audience when I say this, are libertarians, and I don't mean like
I 100% agree with you. 100%.
I'm talking libertarian party people. They have a very simplistic, very almost 18th century view of things.
It's immature. It's an immature political view. It is. It is.
They can't think outside of it. Now, the last point I want to make was,
and I call myself one, by the way, but I'm very aware of some of the deficits.
I say I have libertarian leanings, but I'm not, Big L.
I'm not either. I'm not Big L either. So I don't vote for them during elections. I don't want to throw my
one guy I have really started to like over the last year is Konstantin Kisin. Very smart. He's from Britain. Right. Actually, he's originally from Russia. He's a Russian immigrant to Britain, but he's British now. Very smart, very common sense guy, and he made a very good point that how do I bring this up without trying to excuse what's going on with Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes? Because I'm not trying to do that. Those are, like I said, they need to be banished to the cornfield. But what Konstantin brought up was a lot of this stuff with Fuentes, with Tucker Carlson, with Andrew Tate, with some of the Groypers, it's a reactionary movement. And what I mean by that is we've had, 30 years of DEI, you white guys suck, you are the root of all evil, you're responsible for all the problems, and you get a 15, 20-year-old kid who has never experienced this privilege that they're saying exists because it hasn't been around since like the mid 70s, maybe before that, late 60s.
How badass is that point?
And so it creates a reactionary identitarian movement. You get the DEI stuff that explicitly promotes skin color, gender identity, sexual orientation, and you don't think there's going to be a backlash. This is something I've been warning about. Mm-hmm. Part of the problem with focusing so much on the identity politics from the left is it sparks an identity reaction on the far right. And it takes maturity, it takes discipline, it takes forethought to not fall into that. And there's a lot of people, especially younger folks, who are not capable of separating that yet. So they will fall in, like I said before, it's very easy to feel, it's harder to think. But since it's easy to feel that way, they can fall into those movements, and that is at least partially responsible for the rise of the identitarian folks on the right when it comes to not saying that's what created Nick Fuentes or what Tucker Carlson is doing, but it's one of the reasons why their following is growing, is because people are by nature tribal, because that's how we survived for tens of thousands of years. We can talk about how we should be more inclusive groups, and that's great, but that phenomenon is what, 150 years old, 200 years old, maybe, and we've been on the planet for 150,000 years. Okay, the tribal identity was forged into us because for so long that's how we survived. So it became a societal and biological evolutionary thing. That doesn't go away overnight. And if things get chaotic, people easily fall back into a tribal mindset. And that's part of the danger of what's going on now is people are falling back into the tribal mindset. And that's what increases the followings of folks like Fuentes, of folks like Tucker Carlson, of that idiot comic Dave Smith. It builds it, and if we aren't careful and know how to counter it, that's going to become the right. I hope it doesn't, but we'll see what happens.
I don't have any fear that will become like the rise of the far left in the that has
we're fighting back.
They have taken over the Democratic Party. We've come to the singularity in the Democratic Party where they're ruling the Democratic Party now. There's no going back. I don't see that in the Republican Party because I think
unlike the left didn't fight against it, the right is.
The right is, and even the pushbacks, and as much as our shout out to the endless ranters, our friend Christopher is Megyn Kelly's his dream girl, and
she was. I'm not gonna lie, she was on the top 5 list for a while.
Yeah, I think my triple whammy of my Republican girls would kick her ass, but I'm just saying.
Who is that? Who is that?
Well, obviously Kristi Noem, obviously Tulsi Gabbard, and then Dana Lash. She was the gal that was the president of the NRA for a while. She has the
I know who she is. I mean,
I think she's one of the most awesome Republican chicks ever. So yeah, that's my triumvirate.
Look at Megyn Kelly, and you look at Kennedy.
I love Megyn Kelly.
Don't forget Kennedy, the former MTV.
I love Kennedy. I love Kat Timpf too. She's a libertarian, but I love her too.
Kat Timpf is.
I think she's funny as hell. I do. I like her.
And then the third one is Katie Pavlich.
Katie Pavlich is good. Yeah, she's good. She's very, very smart, very professional.
Very smart, very, very intellectual.
She is very intellectual. Every time she's on Fox, I pause something and go, because she's a journalist. She's a great journalist.
Yep.
And I think all those
and none of them shot
all bullshit aside, those are all very strong, very beautiful women in their own right, and very smart. And Pam Bondi's another one in that group. I mean, Jesus Christ, I would not want to fight Pam Bondi.
She would rip your balls off.
She would. She
would enjoy doing it.
I'd be all like, I can't hit a girl. I can't. I'm a eunuch. I'm a eunuch.
Well, I had this vision in my head of Pam Bondi ripping off someone's balls and then twirling them over her head.
I'd love to watch that. Actually, I know exactly who she could do. Well, we'll head in the. I think we're on the downslope here of the deal. I got a couple quick things, Russ. Did you want to do our horror movies today? Are you set to do that?
What do we say about the horror movies?
Our scariest horror movies.
Sure, we can talk about some of those.
I got a whole bunch, so we could probably talk about some of mine if you don't. I got a couple.
I've got a few.
Okay. Who wants to? And I got one quick video to play on our way out. But you want to start, or you want me to start?
Why don't you go ahead and go first?
Okay. I did not do these in any particular order. But these are all scary, and I've got like 4 honorable mentions, if that's okay.
Okay.
And I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think 9, 10 movies to talk about, and then 3 honorable mentions. I know that's a lot, but we can get through these pretty quick.
That is a lot.
It is a lot. I know. I started when you brought that up last week. I'm like, okay, and I just started jotting down notes. I'm like, wait a minute, these all scared the shit out of me. And some of these are time dependent. Like they wouldn't scare me now. Obviously, watching it now as a 55-year-old adult, having experienced some of these horror movies in real life, especially, you can just say dating life, and that would cover all of that. Kidding. That's not the only thing that was a horror show in my life. So one of the scariest movies, pacing, acting, and it's very simple. I like it. It's elegant. It doesn't have any gore to it. Is The Ring. The Ring is fucking scary, brother.
That's up there. It's not in my top list, but yeah, The Ring, especially when you find out that Samar was not just an innocent victim.
Right. It's the twisty turny. And what I like about it is Jack from Virgin River plays the boyfriend and he gets killed. That made me happy. And he had the same fucking hairdo back then that he does in Virgin River.
Jeez.
I still got to see that last season and critique it for all my fans and followers. I still haven't. So, okay, The Ring. I just think the whole thing and the acting is fantastic. I just, yeah, like you said, it's got a big twist to it. The ending scene was like, oh my God. Oh, yeah. So it was, and her just crawling out and making that
the
noise.
TV, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Here's one that kind of messed me up. And this came out in 99. I think it was 99. And I was at the captain's career course, and for some reason I woke up one night and this was just in my brain. Was the Blair Witch Project.
I didn't have that one down. Interesting.
And there was no gore, there were no special effects. It was all done through innuendo, through implication. And it felt so real.
Yeah, it did.
I woke up in the middle of the night, at Fort Benning, and I'm in my BOQ, Bachelor Officer Quarters, alone, and it's dark, and I just had this eerie feeling. I started thinking about that movie for some reason. I'm like, I gotta stop. I actually had to get up, turn the light on, and watch TV for a little bit.
I can understand that. Yeah, I didn't have that one on there, but when it came out, it was revolutionary because found footage was not a thing. It was not a thing.
Not then.
And now I can't watch found footage movies like paranormal.
It's overdone.
It's way overdone. I can't watch them. It's just like, well, all right. Yeah, good one though. This one's obvious. I'll just say it and then we can skip by it. But I saw it when I was a little kid and I won't go in the fucking ocean. Jaws. Not a horror movie.
Yeah.
It terrifies me. I'm terrified of sharks. I can't go into water that's like deep enough to where if I look around everything's blue. I will literally start gulping water and die. I will kill myself by drowning if I do. If I watch a movie and like there's a diver and it's just like blue all over the place, and it's beautiful. You see the people diving with whales and stuff like. There's no fucking way. No,
I've been scuba diving. I like that, but I get what you're saying. To me, the saddest part in that movie was when the little boy got eaten and everybody had run on shore and the mom is in the water just calling out his name.
Yeah, it was horrible.
That got to me.
Or when the guy's lab gets eaten, Pippet, he keeps calling. That's like my nightmare. Like when sometimes we'll stop and Lucy will chase a rabbit into the woods and it's like, oh God, what's he cussing? She always comes back. She's a good dog, but yeah. All right, go ahead.
All right. This one is solely because of the actor who played the bad guy. The original 1990 version of It with Tim Curry as Pennywise.
I almost put that down, and I think the remake is fucking scary as shit too, by the way.
The remake, but Tim Curry, he embodied Pennywise. He was scary with that.
He wasn't as over the top as Skarsgård was with it.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite as over the top. It was Skarsgård, right, that played It?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still,
he looks so much like that Austin guy that played Elvis and was in Masters of Air and stuff like that because they both have that weird mouth that curves up at the end.
He did that. He did that.
Austin Butler. Austin Butler is who I'm trying to think of.
I want to say that he did that on Kimmel or Fallon or something, and it was freaky.
Tim Curry was great for that choice, and I liked all the actors in that. They were John Boyd Walton. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
I don't remember, but Harry, the guy who played Harry Stone in Night Court, who for some reason I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah. Annette O'Toole.
Yeah, and John Ritter.
Yeah, that John Ritter. Yep. Yeah, no, that was good. I like them both. But if you watch the original miniseries, it's still really, really good. Really.
Apparently, they kept Tim Curry away from the child actors during the filming, so that their reactions to him would be more natural.
That would make sense. Yeah. Good one. Yeah, I almost put that down, but I had so many here. So, Saw, the original Saw, freaked me the fuck out.
It was freaky. I don't know if I was scared by it, but it was freaky.
Yeah, it kind of scared me. I don't know. Just the whole idea, just the whole psychological. It was more of a psychological mind fuck than it was like jump scare, of course. But it was
Hmm.
just like the whole thing, like you were sucked into it, and it was just like you're so uncomfortable the entire time. Wanting these people to escape and knowing they're gonna get. Oh, it was very effective, very well done. Actually, I didn't watch any of the 90 sequels, but the first one was excellent. Go ahead.
All right, this is an old one.
I got a couple
Um,
old ones myself.
but and so this one may be on your list, but The Omen. The,
Good one. I did think of that when you mentioned it last week, and I did not put it on here, but I would have if I remembered. Yeah,
I mean,
very fucking scary.
the
Ooh.
music,
Oh yeah.
the little boy who played Damien.
Wasn't Gregory Peck in that movie
Greg, I
too?
was about to say Gregory Peck was in that. He played the uh, the ambassador
Right,
to England.
right.
Um,
Yeah, that was scary. You're
David
right.
Warner.
Good
David
one.
Warner was in that. He's the guy who played he played Chancellor Gorkon in the Star Trek Six
Hmm.
movie.
Hmm.
But and the way like he would take his character would take photographs and you'd see something in the picture that would be in how somebody would end up dying. Like he
Yeah.
took a picture of the nanny and there was a thing around her neck and she died because she jumped off the
I'll
roof.
have
And
to I'll have to watch that on like Prime or something because I bet you that still holds up. You don't hear about it, but I bet you it
it
still
does. I saw part of it because
because the way it's filmed is kind of classic. It's
yeah, well
very dark. It's very
it was
yeah,
it came up with on Halloween because Halloween was only a week ago.
right.
And so I saw part of it there. I saw the part where David Warner's character got decapitated by glass sliding out of the back of a truck.
I actually remember that. Yeah, it was fucked up. It was really
Yeah.
fucked up. It was kind of like it's actually got a modern feel to it too because of like the Antichrist becoming, a politician and eventually
Yep.
president and all that. That's kind of happening on the left. There's a lot of mini
In a
Antichrists.
way.
I'm not fucking around with that either. All right, I got two old ones and one that's a little more modern. Night of the Living Dead, the original 1960s black and white version, I
I
think
was
is
actually going to bring up the one that I saw in 1990, but yeah.
yeah, woo dog. Just the obviously the very first one isn't as action packed or gory, but boy was it sure psychological fuck. And then I can't remember the name of the actor, the black guy who's the main character in there. But you're like, okay, everybody dies.
Yep.
Everybody dies. Yeah, he had no problem fucking with you. The director, what's his name? Skipping my brain right now.
George Romero.
Thank you, George Romero. Legend. Go ahead.
Um, Again, simply because evil children kind of freak me out a little bit. Children of the Corn
I could see that. I didn't put that down, but yeah, that was weird. That was scary.
with Malachi.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Blue Man. Yeah. Evil children kind of freak me out a little
Good one.
bit.
Yeah, me too. That's why I watched it once. I remember it was in my sister and brother-in-law's trailer, and I used to tell you it was a big thing for me to go up there every now and
Yeah.
again and watch HBO movies over the weekend for a night or two. Yeah, I remember watching that
And
and just being
it,
fucking freaked out. I don't think it stands up though. It's not something I'd watch again.
Well, I haven't seen it. I have not seen it in probably 20 years because again, the evil. What I don't know if you ever remember. There was a story. There was an episode of Friends where Monica and Chandler were looking at a house in upstate New York, and they kind of fucked with Joey about because he ran into a little girl up there, and they fucked with him. There was a little girl that lived here like 20 years ago, but she died, and then they revealed that they're screwing with him, and he's like, "That's mean. You know I'm scared of little girl ghosts." I mean, it's kind of similar in the way that I don't like the evil children thing.
Yeah, the evil children thing is scary. Like some of the Twilight Zone ones, like they it became a catchphrase. I think Corolla was big on getting that out there, but when people were getting canceled and Me Too'd, it was sending them to the cornfield. Remember that Twilight episode where
That was Twilight Zone, yeah.
banish
That was kind of
banish him to
creepy.
the cornfield where that kid would do it to people he didn't like and disagreed with him. He had the power.
Yeah, Bill it
Yeah,
was played by Bill Mummy, I think.
that little bastard. Hated that little fucker. All right. Another oldie but goodie, and it's the original, not the remake. I haven't seen the remake, which I hear is just as fucked up, is The Evil Dead, the original. That
Yeah,
that if that doesn't freak you out, I realize the practical special effects don't really hold up. and all that. And this was before they introduced Ash, Hail to the King, baby, and made
Yeah.
it all a big spoofy comedy, that series.
His the movie poster of that freaked me out because it was the skull with the eyeballs,
Right.
actual eyeballs in there.
Right. Yeah, it is intense and it is scary as fuck. Lots of jump scares, lots of psychological. Woo! Yeah, I remember I rewatched that about 5 years ago. And like, this is in my top 5 of scariest things that's ever happened on planet Earth. It's pretty bad. So anyway, Evil Dead, the original.
All right, I got one that doesn't hold up now because the special effects don't hold up. But back in the early 80s, this was the freakiest movie out there. That was the original Poltergeist.
Oh yeah, we talked about that absolutely, 100% back in the day.
The little girl who I cannot remember her name. Just
Luann.
What's that?
Luann.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the actress's name.
Oh, the actress. I can't remember either.
She died when she was like 14. She got some kind of like stomach thing.
Yeah, she did.
But her voice with the TV people, they're here.
That's fucking scary shit.
Again, you have right now it doesn't hold up. I showed it to my oldest when she was like 12, and she laughed her way through most of the movie because of the special effects.
Yeah, the special effects are bunk now, but yeah.
But in the early 80s, that when you're 9 or 10 years old in the early 80s and you don't know the special effects, yeah, it's freaky.
It blew me away. And I was a young kid when I saw that, and I saw it at the theater, and I was in there by myself because like my brother and sister used to take me. We go to Tacoma, which is, hour and a half away from where we grew up, and there was a huge theater, Narrows Plaza. A lot of folks listening will know where that's at, and big, huge pro bowling alley there and all that kind of stuff. And they would just drop me off at the movies and then go party in Tacoma and like pick me up at like 2 a.m. I'd be sitting outside the theater freezing in my little yeah, great to be raised that way, sitting there in a city by myself, and I'm like 9.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago when you did that kind of stuff.
You did that kind of stuff. I'm not even mad about it. I'm actually being funny about it. But yeah, you had to take care of yourself, man. You had to be tough. Yeah, so the good one. You and I agree on that one. I didn't put it on my list just because of it's more like it scared me then, and I would go.
Yeah, it wouldn't scare you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the part that freaked me out though, because it was when Craig T. Nelson, who plays the dad, of course, famously in Coach, the TV series sitcom. I've always liked Craig T. Nelson. I have a soft spot for him. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. And he goes, "Why don't you just leave us the hell alone?" And instead of the ghosts being cool about it and calming down, they just blast him. He just gets fucking blasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Fuck you, we're not going to leave you alone." And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's how ghosts are." Yeah. And I grew up in a house that had activity, so that's never fun to watch movies like that when you're a kid. So,
okay.
This one's so obvious that you're probably going to roll your eyes, but it's so fucking scary. And not the ending where he gets all psychotic, but The Shining. Just one of the most mentally taxing experiences I've ever. Just the little girls in the hallway, the blood, the corpse in the bathtub. There were so many parts of that movie that freaked me out. That red Rob, that it was just all fucking freaky, man.
Here's why that movie didn't scare me.
Hi, baby.
First of all, I didn't see it until I was an adult.
I'll get you guys fed here in just a second.
And I read the book, and I love the book. The Shining is one of my favorite books of all time.
It's a great book.
That's one of the few books I've read that it is terrifying.
It is terrifying.
You're reading it. You're halfway into the novel. You're in the middle of the terror, and you have no idea how you got there. But the movie doesn't follow the book quite as faithfully as I would have liked, and that's
Stephen King. I hear that Stephen King hated. He never spoke to Kubrick again after that movie came out.
Yeah,
which is silly because that's a mastercraft in filmmaking. That movie, even if it was different, it's absolutely.
They tried to resolve some of those issues when they made Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'll have to go back and look at that again. Doctor Sleep. Okay.
I got one.
Go for it.
The original, because the sequels got a little bit comical. But the very first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah, I have that down.
Okay?
Definitely. The very first one, the first time you watch it, it was a revolutionary horror movie. Nothing like it had ever been made before. And it still stands up. I watched it a few years ago.
Yeah, the very first one, not when Freddy starts to make all his crack jokes and all this other
No,
Crap.
the very scary one where people are waking up in the middle of the night with like fucking hooks in their bellies and dying in their beds and shit. Yeah.
And that was actually based on stories, I believe, from the Philippines or it was either Filipino or Laotian immigrants that would just wake up screaming and then die. And somebody attached a story to that.
Wow.
Actually, the guy who directed the movie, Wes Craven.
Wes Craven, right.
He patterned Freddy after some homeless dude that he ran into on the street. And
I didn't know.
I don't. Yeah, this weird homeless dude started following him, and he was so creepy that's what he. Now I don't know if you know this. Obviously, in the movie, Freddy was a child murderer. He was a child killer.
Right.
He was originally intended to be a pedophile. And that got changed because they thought that would, that's too far, but let's put the child killer part in there.
I've brought this up on this podcast before, but isn't it funny how rape is somehow worse than murder in our culture?
Apparently.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's really weird. They're horrific things. I mean, you ruin somebody's life with its sexual abuse. Very hard. It's impossible to recover from completely in life, but
right.
You're dead.
I think I may be out of
the other one. You're actually dead. You don't have a shot at recovering.
I think I may be out of movies at this point.
Okay, well, I got a few. I'll just run through them real quick. I know this will maybe just bring up a discussion. I still love it. The original Hellraiser was scary as fuck.
I've never seen the whole thing. The concept itself freaks me out a little bit, which is probably why I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's grotesque. It's scary as fuck. Everything about it makes you uncomfortable because you feel almost a little bit blasphemous.
I thought of another one when you're
okay. But my brother and I, Mark and I mean, we had so many quotes from that movie that we would do back and forth for years and years, probably still would. It's like, do not play with us, Kirsty, for we will rip your soul apart. Or my favorite one is, do not cry here. It is a waste of good suffering.
Okay.
I used to say that to my soldiers and my football players sometimes when I was a coach. Do not cry here. It is a waste of good suffering. Go ahead. Hellraiser's scary.
Right.
Scary as fuck.
This one freaked me out. I think I saw this when I was 11 or 12. And I don't know if you've ever seen it or know anything about it, but it probably freaked me out because I was 11 or 12. Was The Gate. Stephen Dorff. It was Stephen Dorff's first movie.
I know I've seen the deal, but I don't think I've ever watched it, to be honest with you.
It's kids are like teenagers. They're home alone for the weekend because the parents went off to do something, and something happens in the backyard. This hole opens, and it like puffs out this smoke that shows up on the. You remember how you used to have the little transparent thing? You'd write on it, and you could flip the page. You could flip it up, and it would.
Yeah, sure.
So it put words on there, and they read off the words, and it turned out that started to open this gate to hell.
Well, of course it did. What else would it do?
Yeah, and there was a part where when the demon finally comes out of the gate, he grabs Stephen Dorff, who put up his hand to try to block it. He grabs Stephen Dorff by the hand and drops him. And when Stephen Dorff opens his hand, there's an eyeball there looking at him, and he's got to take a piece of glass and stab the eyeball to make sure that they're not followed and stuff.
That's weird. That's weird. That would be gross. And then 30 years later, that demon became the mayor of New York City.
Yeah. So that one, when I was 11 or 12, kind of freaked me out a little bit.
I'll have to look that one up. I'm not a big fan of Stephen Dorff for some reason.
Well, I didn't make the connection to who that was until much, much later.
He reminds me of somebody that I would have picked a fight with back in the day.
He was literally a child my age in that movie.
Yeah, he's a good actor, but for some reason, just his look and everything about him, I just want to knock him the fuck out every time I see him. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's got that look. I have that look to other people too, like pussies that are envious of things that are good feel that way about me. Both the original and the remake, which was back in like 2006, 2007. I remember I was living in Sacramento when I watched the remake, is The Hills Have Eyes.
Never saw that.
Oh, brutal. It's about a family that goes they're in an RV, and their RV breaks down in Nevada, and they're by one of those towns that was built to see how they would stand up during the nuclear blast.
Okay.
Back in the late 40s in Nevada. but there's people that live in this fake town, and they're all fucking grotesque mutants because of the radiation that they grew up with. And then they start just kidnapping and butchering the family one by one. In the modern one, there's one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever seen. I don't remember the name of the actor. He was in a whole bunch of stuff for a long time, more of a character, kind of pop up in TV series as a guest kind of a guy. He plays the dad. They end up putting him on a crucifix on a pile of limbs, and the family sees it up on a hill, and they burn him to death. And it's like a long, disgusting shot watching his corpse basically bubble. And that's the dad, and the family has to watch it because these freak mutants built it right up there by their RV site. Yeah. That one's disturbing. So you don't have any more?
No, not that. If something else pops into my head, I'll say it. But
okay, go for it.
I was not allowed to watch a lot of horror movies growing up. These are some of the ones I was able to sneak off and see.
I got one more, and then I'll talk about some honorable mentions, and then one that wasn't scary, but I think deserves.
I have an honorable mention I'll mention too that I just thought of.
Okay, yeah, there's one that wasn't scary. It was more just fun, but it deserves. I think you'll agree, a lot of accolades. So the scariest movie in my list is Kim Kardashian Superstar.
Okay, interesting.
Where she had sex with her rapper boyfriend, and yeah, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen. Just to let you know. Here's some honorable mentions. I think okay, you said Nightmare on Elm Street. I had that down. Let me cross that out. And Poltergeist as a kid. Let me cross that out. So that leaves me with three more movies. It Follows. Modern Marys in a series. I thought that the idea of it was so fucking original and gone. So basically, there's this, you get this, I don't even know how to explain it. So you get cursed, and there's this like animated female corpse thing that follows you to kill you. That's why it's called It Follows. And the way to get rid of the curse is to have sex with somebody. And it transfers to that person when you have sex with them. And it's like high school kids. And this girl who like gets talked into having sex by this guy, the class or the school, big man on campus. And then he's like, I'm sorry. Next thing you know, you see this like fucking weird corpse woman like slowly following her and trying to catch up to her to kill her. And it just kind of keeps going. Really original. And there's some really, I mean, just like she's in a car and she looks in the rearview mirror and she sees like in this parking garage this fucking ghoul coming slow. I mean, those scenes are, they give you the, oh God, because I have those dreams where I'm trying to run and my legs don't work, which they don't right now, actually. I didn't realize it was a premonition, but.
So I've got two I thought of. They kind of mess with your head more than they're necessarily horror movies. One's a series. I don't know if you ever saw Storm of the Century. Storm of the Century with what the heck was the dude's name? It's got a bunch of actors you would recognize, but they're not like superstars.
Yeah, keep talking. I'll look it up while you're talking.
There's a town of Little Tall, is what they call it. It's an island off the coast of Maine, and it gets caught in a snowstorm that cuts it off from the mainland. And this stranger shows up by the name of Andre Lenoge.
Well, of course.
And he keeps saying, "If you give me what I want, I'll go away." And he's like some kind of demon wizard thing. And the chief of the police of the town realizes that his last name Lenoge is an anagram, and he ends up saying out the part in the Bible is like, for we are many, call us Legion, for we are many, and
gotcha.
Lenoge goes into Legion. And the part that freaks you out is, the town votes to give him what he wants, and what he wants is he wants one of the children of the town, so he can like turn this child into, pass on his knowledge to this child.
Gotcha.
And just the thought of the town voting to give away your child is really kind of.
I see it was written by Stephen King, so that makes some sense now. Oh, excuse me, everybody. Okay, yeah, I never did watch that, but I see it does have a lot of actors. You're right, that I do recognize.
Yeah, they're not superstars, but you would know.
No, they're all B level, but people that you recognize, like Tim Daly, the guy from Wings, who played the main character on Wings, the sitcom, and a bunch of other stuff. Deborah Ferrantino, who was like a total hottie back in the day to people in my generation.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, What else do I got? Okay, I got one more and then one that's kind of out of pocket, but I think you'll agree with it.
Yeah, I got one more freaky one.
I've got a sci-fi movie, a horror sci-fi movie that I think did freak me out. I don't know that it scared me, but it freaked me out. I didn't know anything about the movie when I watched it, and it's got some great actors in it. Event Horizon.
I was thinking that's where you were going. Yeah, because
Yes.
the scene when
Fuck, man.
when
That
Sam
fucking
Neill grabs Lawrence Fishburne's head and he sees the scenes from hell.
right. Yeah. Fuck, what a cool movie. What a cool plot and well written and well acted. I don't know why it doesn't get more love than it does because
It's got a cult following now.
it is a really good movie. And you said Sam Neill, Lawrence Fishburne. There's a lot of really good actors, and the story itself, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah.
You think
So,
you think we finally have star travel, and now, nope.
yeah. Guess what? You're gonna warp to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. And then the last one, which I think is one of the
Let
most.
let me do my last
Oh,
one.
you
real
got
quick.
one more? Got you. Of course.
One
Yeah.
more. Again, this was more of a kind of mess with my head movie than a horror movie, but Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
I did see it. I did see it. I didn't like it. I was just like,
Well, the part that freaked me out was at the end
but it was gross.
when the mom had both the boys that were hanging off the cliff, and she
Right.
decided to let go of her own son to save Elijah Wood.
Right.
And you see Macaulay Culkin hit the rocks at the bottom, and then the waves come in and wash his body out to sea. That messed with my head.
That did mess with my head too. To see a child, basically. Like I know he was like what was he in the movie? Like 14 or something, supposedly, or whatever. But
Yeah, 13 or 14, something like that.
yeah, that was fucked up. Okay. A movie that I love that I've seen probably 6 or 7 times. Cabin in the Woods.
Never saw it.
Oh, you'd love it. You'd love it. It takes the entire. There's a couple of scenes. It's put it on your list, please, because I don't want to ruin it by telling you a couple of scenes. There's a couple of scenes in that movie, and it's so fucking original. You get towards the end, you're like, "That's what's going on? Holy shit!" And it completely shifts into this other movie, and that usually doesn't work, but it works really well in this one.
Okay.
You think one thing is going on this entire time. It's Cabin in the Woods, bunch of college kids going up there to the party, and they start getting killed by things that are out there and various monsters and ghouls and shit like that. And when you realize what the secret is,
Okay.
and Chris Hemsworth is in it pre-Thor days, and he
Okay.
is in one of the most spectacular death scenes I have ever seen. It actually made me laugh.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like I kind of thought it was coming when it happened, and then when it does, you're like, "Fuck yeah, that's awesome." So anyway, so the winner in that regard is Kim Kardashian Superstar. That's the scariest movie I've ever seen.
There's
Her and Ray J.
It might be The Outer Limits. It was either Outer Limits or Twilight Zone, one of those freaky shows. I don't remember the name of the episode, but there was these kids are going like rock climbing in New Mexico or something, and they get into a cave and they uncover this stone, it's almost like a stone coffin, but they pull out, it's got a picture of blood in it, and they accidentally spill this pitcher of blood, and the sun goes dark, and they interpret all the writings on the side of this stone chest. It says, this is the blood is here to appease the sun god, and if the pitcher is ever empty, the world is going to end. And so they have to decide which one of them has to die to refill this pitcher. And then at the end, after they refill the pitcher and put it back in the stone box, and the sun comes back out, they start to get radio broadcasts said that, wow, the sun just moved, the solar system just moved through an interstellar dust cloud. So it was kind of a freaky, Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. I really liked those shows, so they would do something like that every once in a while.
Twilight Zone was so people don't realize how influential it was with TV series, movies, sci-fi, and horror. All of it. There's so many that were incredibly influential. I don't know if you've had. I know I talked about it a long time ago, but there's this TV series called From, Form.
You mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah, where people just end up in this town and they're driving and they just end up there. It's kind of Stephen King-esque, but it's so well done. And that was definitely a Twilight Zone episode there
were two episodes in Twilight Zone there were three episodes in Twilight Zone, and I'm talking about the mid '80s version of the Twilight Zone that really stuck with me. There was one called I think it was Shatter Day, and it was this woman finds an amulet that when she says "shut up," it stops time. And this was back during the Cold War, and everybody's worried about nuclear war and stuff. And
turn back time.
And so it turns out that World War III starts, and so she stops time, and she wandering into downtown, and she can see the Soviet missile coming, it's like within a second or two of air bursting over her city, and so she's got to decide, does she ever start time again? That kind of thing. There's one that is about when kids reach a certain age, they have to take an intelligence test,
right?
And the parents are all worried about it. The kid's like, "I'm smart, I can take this test. It's not gonna be a big deal." And so he goes and he takes the test, and it turns out that he's too smart. So the government executed him. They killed him for being too smart. And they just notified the parents, "Hey, do you want a private burial or a cremation at the end?" And then my favorite episode,
that almost happened to me, so I can empathize there. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you were too smart.
I was too smart.
My favorite episode of that series of Twilight Zones, it's got, I don't remember the name of the actor, but you've seen him in a bunch of stuff. He played in, did you ever see Shazam?
The newer movies? Or the old 70s?
The new movie.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so he played the dad in that. That guy also played the Luthor father in Smallville. He's played a bunch of stuff. He played in Scrooge. He was the
he played what's his face, Luthor? The long-haired dude?
Yeah, not Lex Luthor himself, but his dad.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name. Yeah, he's a good actor. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But he played something a little bit, I almost didn't recognize him in this, but basically it's set at the United Nations and aliens have showed up.
Well, excuse me.
The aliens have shown up and they're like, hey, we seeded this planet a couple million years ago to bring about, intelligent life. We've done that on a few thousand worlds, but, you guys have this small talent for war, and we don't like that, so we're going to wipe you out. And the people are like, wait a minute. You got to give us a chance to prove ourselves. Give us 1 day before you do anything. And so the guy's like, well, I don't know what you can do in a day, but okay, sure. And so the United Nations spends all night coming up with this plan for world peace. And so the alien ambassador, played by that dude, shows up again the next day. He's like, all right, it's been a day. What do you have? And they're like, here's this plan for world peace. We've done it. And he starts laughing at him. He's like, world peace? I said you have a small talent for war. We're looking for a bigger talent for war. You're not bloodthirsty enough. And, it moves in at the end and they wipes out humanity. So I liked that one. That's probably my favorite Twilight Zone episode of all time, just because I like the twist on the the benevolent mother race.
Right. John Glover's his name, by the way, the actor.
John Glover, that's right.
Yeah, he's really good.
If you get the chance,
he played Lionel Luthor, if I remember the name right.
Yeah.
Lionel? That was the Lex Luthor's dad. Yeah, that was an interesting character. I was just looking at the cast of Smallville. I can't, and I know because I'm actually rewatching Smallville right now because I'm following the podcast where they once a week they review a show. Just kind of a fun way to do it. Mm-hmm. Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum are on there, and they bring Kristen Kruk and all those people on as guests. It's kind of funny how many people that were who became major actors or who were major actors on the show. Like Justin Hartley has blown up. He's got that TV show where he's the tracker now.
One of my favorite actors was on that show, Jensen Ackles.
Jensen Ackles, yep, he was on that show for a while. He was the football coach who was dating one of the high school cheerleaders, i.e. Lana Lang. That was weird. Annette O'Toole, Alan Richardson, of course, who's now Reacher, and he's been on a lot of stuff.
Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve did a guest on there. So did Margot Kidder.
So did Terrence Stamp.
Terrence Stamp, who played Jor-El. Rutger Hauer was on there for 3 episodes. I remember that. He's passed now. James Marsters, remember him? He was the blonde-haired vampire on Buffy who was in love
Oh,
with her.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I watched Buffy. I don't apologize actually for it. Fuck you.
I was
What I
actually,
was,
believe it or not, this is weird. I was just thinking of the movie with Christy Swanson.
yeah,
You
Christy
mentioned
Swanson.
Rutger
Yeah,
Hauer, and that led me to that.
she was a heartbreaker back in the day. Julian
Hmm.
Sands. Let's see who else was big time. Who else got their start here? I forgot Patrick Bergen was on there. That's right. He played a bad guy for a while. But what always surprised me is that Kristen Kruk and Erica Durance, who played Lana Lang and Lois Lane,
Hmm.
never really hit it big. And I always thought they were really good. I thought they were good actresses and really good. But I don't know. They never really. They do small TV. I guess Kristen Kruk does have her own TV series now called Murder in a Small Town. That's a Canadian thing or something. But they were both
Hey,
so
no one cares.
they were both so fucking beautiful and good actresses. I was like, oh, they're going to be huge. I remember when I was watching it back when it was on TV. And I don't know what Erica Durance. Oh no, she does one of those doctor shows full time, but I don't watch those. I hate
No,
those.
I don't. No, I don't watch them either.
Anything with the emergency room and fucking personalities and wow, yeah, I lived it. Fuck all those people. I got one more
Dr.
thing.
McDreamy or Dr. McSteamy?
Yeah, fuck, so fucking stupid. Patrick Dempsey will always be the nerd who was trying to get the chicken.
That's why I could never buy him as a sex symbol because I saw him the first time I saw him was in Can't Buy Me Love. Little Ronald
Right.
Miller.
I'm not saying anything bad about him, but it's just I'm typecast in my own brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you see it when you're that young, you're like,
Right.
little Ronald Miller. That's a sex symbol? No.
From everything I've heard, like he's a very likable, like Adam Carolla. They do racing. Adam Carolla does vintage racing. That's been
Mhm.
his one of his passions, and so does Dude. And I guess he's like the nicest guy in the world. Like they're buddies and all of that. Like couldn't be any nicer. But it's like, yeah, I don't get the sexy thing. He's the nerd who's trying to buy a girlfriend. Yep, that's it. Can't buy me love, love. Okay, I got one more thing before we get off,
Okay.
and we're gonna bring this back around, Russ, and where we started to 1932.
Okay.
And one of the great Americans that was born in 1932, and there was actually a lot. I looked at it, but I won't bore people with it. Was this young lady who came to be a absolute sensation in the entertainment industry of the United States of America and the world. And fuck, that video won't play. Boy, that was a lot of.
There's a lot of buildup.
That's the only one I didn't check, and it would take me 10 minutes to do the conversion on it now. Fuck. All right.
And who's the lady?
Loretta Lynn was born in 1930.
Okay.
I was
Hey,
gonna.
I have been on taking my daughter up to school. I have driven by the Loretta Lynn Ranch.
Have you? Yeah, I
Yep.
think she's still alive.
She may be.
Yeah, I think she is. I think I saw something last year, maybe at least I would have heard about it if she died because she's huge. So
Yeah, but the exit that we get off to take my daughter up to college passes by the Loretta Lynn Ranch.
does it now? Yeah, no, she was huge. I apologize, everybody. I was going to play a little bit of Coal Miner's Daughter, but everybody knows that song, so it's not that big of a deal. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Do you have any final words for our intrepid listeners out there? I'm going to try to. Well, I won't try. I will get this. Oh, by the way, I've been watching. I've been watching your. I'm not watching. It's on TV. Appalachian State versus Georgia Southern is on right now. I don't know if you knew that.
App State hasn't been having a good year this year.
No, they're down 15-22 against Georgia. So I don't even know what Georgia Southern is. Is that like a truck driving school somewhere, like in Dahlonega?
It's in
That's
southern
funny
part
as-
of Georgia, I think.
That's funny as fuck right there, actually.
But we just haven't been doing that well this year.
Not that well this year. Oh, well, that's all right. Yeah, 22-15 in the fourth quarter, 13:50 left. So it's the only game I could
We'll
find.
probably not get to a bowl game this year.
That's too bad. Yeah, people are we're having a little bit of fun up here because things are looking good, but things are going well for both the Seahawks and the Huskies this year so far. So
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens later this year when the Seahawks come to Carolina to play the Panthers.
yeah, we'll have to do a friendly bet on that like we did that you didn't pay off last time we did a friendly bet, but that's all right.
I don't think I did a friendly bet because I don't usually bet.
Yeah, we did in the NFC Championship game back in the day.
I can honestly say I do not remember that.
Steel trap mind, motherfucker. Steel trap mind.
I tried to bring it up a couple years later when the divisional playoff round and yeah, but I'm just interested that the Panthers have a winning record somehow this year.
Yeah, that is interesting. I actually
Shocking, I believe is the word.
I didn't see that necessarily happening, to be honest with you.
No, well, when they were down 17-0 to the Miami Dolphins. Me and the guy because I don't have the Sunday ticket here anymore. It costs too much. You got to subscribe to YouTube TV and then you got to pay for the game, the Sunday ticket. It's way too expensive. So I go to a Buffalo Wild Wings and watch the game. And there's
There
another
you go.
Panthers fan there.
I get
And
everything.
so-
I get everything on either Hulu or Sling. I get every game, so without paying that much. So that's cool. But yeah, I get every game I want to watch. It's kind of funny. The Seahawks were not picked to do shit this year. They were
Sam
picked.
Darnold's kicking ass up there.
He's got MVP numbers. It's weird, and it's been hard for me to make the transition because Sam Darnold played for USC, and I fucking hated that fucker when he played at USC because I hate everybody that plays at USC. Everybody. But fuck, man, he's fun to watch. He is a system quarterback.
Two former Panther quarterbacks are in the running for MVP this year: Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield.
Isn't that crazy? And Baker's having a great year too, man.
What me and this dude said that I watched the games with said about both of those is you gotta remember Darnold had just left the Jets, Baker had just left the Browns. We weren't the boyfriend they were gonna end up with. We were the rebound guy. We were the rebound team that you're with temporarily until you find the team that you're actually gonna be with.
Right.
But look, when they were down 17-0 to the Dolphins, we both looked at each other and said, well, the quarterback, the coach is going to get fired this week because Tepper's got no patience and they suck anyway, and then we're going to look for another quarterback. And they came back and they won that game. And then they beat the Cowboys. And then they beat Green Bay last week.
That one I did not see coming, I'll be honest with you.
I didn't see coming. I went there expecting to do what I did when they played the Buffalo Bills, which was I'm going to watch until halftime and then they're getting beaten by 30 points and I'm going to just leave. But somehow they beat the Packers, and I was like, well, and they're playing the Saints this week, and they should beat the Saints. That would put them at 6-4, which I said this year, if the Panthers somehow ended up at 9-8, I would be ecstatic because that would show progress. Even 8-9 would show progress over what they've done recently. So, they play in the second to last game of the season in Carolina. So we'll see what that's like.
Yeah. Where was Canales before he went to?
He was the Tampa Bay offensive coordinator.
That's
he
what
was
I
the
thought.
guy that was giving credit for Baker Mayfield's turnaround.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, that makes some sense. Yeah, boy, that team they got all their coaches plundered away from them. Yeah, they did. So anyway, our Clint Kubiak is starting to look. God, nobody expected the offense to be this good this year for the Seahawks, and it's just clicking. And did you hear that we traded for one of the best wide receivers in the league?
I did not see that.
Yeah, so we're gonna get the 1-2 punch, and why is his name escaping me right now? I was pretty excited. We got the 1-2 punch of Smith and Jigma, and then this guy who's like Mr. Over the Top speedster, one of the fastest guys in the NFL. So Darnold's gonna be
Tyreek Hill, is it?
Huh?
Wasn't Tyreek Hill?
No. Let me look real quick.
I can look
it's like a Middle Eastern name, black fella. Why in the world?
You got Cooper Kupp,
Rashid Shaheed, New Orleans guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's ridiculous. I don't know if Cooper Kupp is going to last the season. He's been injury plagued for.
He's also getting old.
Yeah, he's getting old. Everybody up here loves Cooper Kupp because he's a Washington guy, Washington State guy. Played his ball over in Eastern Washington University. But everybody loves Cooper Kupp. It's nice to have on the team, but this guy's I can't even imagine what the offense is gonna look like now when you have two number one receivers like this. And Smith and Jigba is a lot of people have him on their number one receiver in the NFL and MVP list. So it's kind of interesting. Wow. Yeah.
I know that there's a couple of games we'll be rooting for the Panthers this year, though. When they play the Niners and when they play the Rams.
Absolutely. Yeah, we shouldn't have lost that first game to the Niners, but it happened, and I hate the Niners.
The Panthers should have beaten the Cardinals. They were down like 27-6 or something like that. And they came all the way back. They were down by 6 points. Got the onside kick with 1:30 to go, and then just completely stalled out.
It happens. Yeah, no, I'm glad they're having a little better year than you expected. I knew the Seahawks. I thought the Seahawks were going to get 10 wins again this year for sure, but I I listen to sports
Go on,
radio a lot
they're going to
because
be playing for home field advantage.
they are. It's nuts. I thought they'd get in the playoffs this year. I really did because I did see Darnold as a step up from, my God, fuck. I hated Geno Smith so bad. I hate that guy. I'm glad he's doing as shitty as he should be doing.
He's doing horrible in Las Vegas.
Played for his brother, Pete. Good old Pete. Pete Carroll, and he can't. Yeah. But Darnold's looked great. That defense we knew was going to be elite because that's our coach's thing, Mike McDonald's thing. And I'm excited to actually watch Seahawks again this year because Darnold's absolutely grown on me, and the guy is cool as shit. He's very humble. He's very down to earth. Just seems like a hell of a nice guy too. So.
When he played for the Panthers, and they beat somebody on a Monday night, I think. I said I liked him, but the one thing I did right was somebody needs to buy that boy a personality.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of one. He's very laid back. I think I've seen a lot of it now coming out because this is the second year in a row that he's actually, he's looked all pro. He was looked all pro last year with the Vikings, except for the last couple of games.
He came out the same. Didn't he come out with Josh Allen?
Yes, he did. Yeah, and I think weren't they drafted right next to each other? Boom, boom.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's nice to see him, and he's just. Have you watched any of the Seahawks games?
I've seen the highlights.
Yeah, that quick delivery, and he is. I don't know. He's the most accurate Seahawks quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, he's fucking on it. So, and we'll quit talking about shit that nobody else cares about.
It's our podcast. We can do that.
Yeah.
Plus, we've been on here more than 2 hours, though.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I had stuff to do tonight. Oh, well, I guess there's always tomorrow for me since I don't have a full-time job.
I got to go to bed because I wake up early and go to the gym, usually before my family wakes up.
When I'm able to walk, I really will. I've started to work out here, and I have been feeling better, so that's good news.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, so let me tell you, let me give the audience a quick story about my trials and tribulations. What I found out, my health has gone in the shitter for the last year and a half. I won't get really detailed about it, but I'm dealing with autoimmune diseases. I was dealing with cancer, which seems to be resolved for now. I seem to be doing better with that. My left hip is completely gone, and that just came boom. Like a couple of months of pain, and then you have absolutely no cartilage, nothing left in your hip.
Yeah.
You're bone on bone. Now my right hip's starting to feel exactly the same way. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll have to have them both done or what. They said that it would be a few years on your right hip, and now I got pain in both. So you can imagine how fun that is to try to walk or go downstairs or upstairs. It's incredibly painful. And what you saw on my face when it was like I dared to move while I was sitting here, and my hip fired up. So I did a little thing. You know me, I'm a little suspicious of the messenger RNA stuff. I know the biology behind it. Just real quick, it's not like the old fashioned vaccines where you have basically a denatured or a wounded virus in there that's not active, but your body looks at that and makes antibodies and comes up with it on. Messenger mRNA actually codes for those antibodies directly. So they shoot what's in the process in the cells. Messenger RNA is a precursor to translation, which is like putting amino acids in the protein, and it becomes RNA, gets coded from your DNA. It's not a complicated process, but I won't bore anybody. But it's always going to be in your system. When you get a shot like that, you've got basically strands of DNA floating around, or RNA, which not much difference. Chemically, it's only one thing that's different about it, making these antibodies. And there's been a lot of anecdotal evidence that people who have gotten the shot or long COVID have antibodies floating around in their system that are still causing immune system spikes. And it leads to a lot of different things. Now, every one of the things that I have that I've experienced, other than, the trauma of breaking ribs and stuff like that, can be related to some type of autoimmune thing. Mm-hmm. My dermatologist says that he's seen a huge spike in plaque psoriasis since the COVID thing, which is an autoimmune. Psoriasis is autoimmune. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead. One of our friends from the Adam Carolla and the Endless Ranters, Erin is her first name. Very, very cool lady. Everybody likes her. She was talking about it on, I don't know if it was on her page or what. So I DM'd her and said, hey, here's what I've been going through. And she's like, yeah, here's what me and my husband have been going through. And we actually went to the doctor that Joe Rogan had on because here in Texas. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I ordered, I know I'm being long-winded about this, but I want to give the context. So I ordered from LabCorp, I ordered a COVID-19 antibody spike test. Went over and got tested on Monday. Went to a lab not too far from here. Got my lab in. It came back the next day. This is extraordinary. So I have some knowledge here, so I get my labs done once every few weeks or a few months to monitor. There's a lot of good news. Like, as much as I abused my liver and tried to kill it there for many years, my enzyme numbers are great. I don't know why my liver is such a fucking god, but probably because of my heritage.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, my mom drank until she was 80, like almost every day, and I'm not doing that, everybody. I'm no alcohol in my system. But I quit doing that. I'm trying to get my liver healed. I'm trying to get my body healed. And so I got my test results back the next day, logged in, looked at it. Russ, this is not hyperbole. I don't have 30 times, 300 times, or 3,000 times. I have almost 30,000 times more antibodies, spike proteins in my blood than somebody who's not experiencing a huge
That can
infection.
explain some stuff.
It absolutely fucking does. And so those antibodies are floating around. My entire body thinks that I'm being attacked by something still. 30,000 times more. 30,000. Not 10 times more, not 100 times more, 30,000 times more. I read the labs. I even said, I double checked. Is my knowledge out of date here? Because shouldn't it be, 0.8, a little above is considered normal, but the range would be here. You can't always tell. Like if I had a fucking infection on my feet, obviously, things are going to be different. 30,000 times more. And just using a little logic here, using Occam's razor, obviously it comes from the shot. Obviously it comes from the immunization because there's no other way to get those spikes up. That's what happens. Yeah, you can get COVID and your body's going to produce them, but naturally your body's not going to be producing that shit in any high regard after you resolve it, after that disease resolves. Mine has been staying there. And the last time, and for those of you who go, oh, I can't believe you got the shot. If you're in the VA system, you don't have a choice. I get my care through the VA. I had to get the shots.
Let me be honest. I got the shot when I get the Pfizer shot when this all went, because that was back when, they kind of took advantage of the faith that we had because of the history of vaccines. And I'm still a big believer in vaccines.
Yeah, I am too.
But this was something a little bit different. And yeah, I went in because I trusted, wrongly, I guess, but I trusted their. Now, I haven't had any kind of issues like you have or anything, but yeah, I got the shot too.
Yeah, for some reason, and I talked to the problem is if I take this to my primary care doc, he's probably just going to go, because for some reason there's this cabal that refuses to acknowledge that perhaps those vaccines were harmful, and the doctors that are, I mean, the guy that Joe Rogan had on that was saying ivermectin and fenbrazole and all this, which I'm on ivermectin right now. Supposedly it does have a positive effect in lowering your spike proteins. And I pay like for 2 months supply, like $600 for that. And, whatever, cause you can't get that as a prescription. So I bought it offline a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel better, in a lot of ways. My health is improving, my alertness. I drink mushroom coffee. I'm a fucking guinea pig. I'm taking so many supplements right now, Russ, that I'm spending $800, $900 a month on medical supplements for trying to get healthy again.
Yeah.
And knowing what the messenger RNA thing, that doctor that he had on there that actually invented the process that Joe Rogan had on there had his medical license suspended by being on Joe Rogan and talking about these alternative forms. He was, did he work for the National Institution of Health and lost his job and was basically blacklisted and all that stuff. The doctor that Aaron was talking about, and same thing happened to her, the doctor in Texas, that went on Joe Rogan, was talking about this. There is I told somebody today, I said, the difference between conspiracy theory and the truth? About 2 years.
Yeah.
That's about the going rate where these conspiracies prove to be true. And I have never been that guy, but what else is it? I mean, the evidence is all there, and it's something that I'm going to be researching. And God, I if this is the case and I lose my ability to fucking walk, and which I really can't right now. It's very limited. I'm in severe pain every day, plus the lower back that they're going to have to do surgery on my lower back now, the lumbar area, because of some significant issues there. So I got both those issues going on at the same time, and it's like, fuck. And it could be because of that fucking shot. It could matter of fact, I would say it's overwhelmingly probably because of that, my reaction to the mRNA shot.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I just wanted to put that out there for people because it's kind of funny how Erin and her husband and I had exactly the same symptoms, healthy people, and then out of the blue, our bodies are breaking down like so much faster than they should. You can't go from being, running and hiking and all that stuff, and 3 months later, you can't even walk upstairs. That's not how that's not natural progression of a hip joint going out.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's part of what I've been going through. So,
yeah, we'll get some of this resolved at least.
Yeah, I hope to get these numbers down. I'm going to keep doing the labs about once a month and see if these numbers go down and see if I start feeling a little bit better. But bottom line is I need a new left hip. There's no way around it. I've looked at other alternatives and I'm just, my lifestyle sucks. I can't hike and I can't do anything like really active. The only thing I can do is upper body stuff. And it's no way to go through life.
No.
Drunk and fat's not a good way to go through life either, but I'm only fat now. So.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Somebody told me that once. Drunk and fat is no way to go through life. Back then I would say, well, I'm not fat. That's what I'd say back then. Now I just say, well, I'm not drunk.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't get them both right at the same time. Sorry, everybody. All right. I'll let you go, bud. Have a good night. Kick ass in the gym tomorrow. Thanks for everybody listening. Remember to grumpybastardsmerchandise.com. Come over to our Facebook page. I'm posting a lot on Facebook. Russ isn't posting it all over there as usual.
I need to start. I post a lot on my personal page, but I need to post more.
Yeah, you do. You kind of blow you do. That's fine if that's I don't post any of that shit on my personal page, so I save it all for Two Grumpy Bastards. And so yeah, I put up some funny goods and some good. I would encourage people to, if I put an article up there on Two Grumpy Bastards, fucking read it. Because I don't put stupid shit up there. I put stuff up there that's very informative, and you're probably not going to hear on the mainstream news and stuff like that. So there's some good stuff up there.
And in fairness, one of the reasons I post on my page is every once in a while I'll get somebody that'll actually, discuss it with me, as opposed to just affirmation.
What's that one guy's? What's that? I guess you don't have to call him out here, his name, but he's always on there trying to. He's a guy with the really bad haircut. He tries to look like a tough guy or something.
He was
what is he? Yeah, go ahead.
He's a guy that I got in. I knew from my youth. We played in several chess tournaments together.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I know him. He used to be, a pretty big chess prodigy. I don't know if he plays any longer.
Oh, really? So he's not. He's articulate. It's just that he's not very smart. His premises and his conclusions are not logical most of the time. I could shoot him.
I agree, and he.
I shouldn't say he's not very smart. He just doesn't use critical thinking in his.
Well, he does have some stuff, and in fairness to this guy, he's not a doctrinaire progressive. Right? He actually will. He's called out progressives two things in the last couple months. One, he called out the reaction to Charlie Kirk's death.
Mm-hmm.
He lost friends over that. And then he's called out the Democrats on the continuing resolution. And he said he's lost 11 friends over that discussion.
How do you lose friends over something that's just obvious?
Well, I'm sure it doesn't help that I weigh in.
It's fucking crazy though. How would you? Well, and to his credit, God bless him. And would you want those people in your fucking Fox? Their fighting position with you anyway.
He talks about he used to live in San Francisco, but he appeared conservative in San Francisco, but he looks like he's a leftist everywhere that's not San Francisco. But he's still got a lot of friends back there, and they all react emotionally to shit.
Right.
And they want to live in their own bubble. He talks about the paradox, the intolerance of tolerance paradox. And
yeah,
so,
he seems like he's articulate. I don't know if he's a good guy, bad guy. I don't care. I'm not going to judge him, but he's articulate. But he does a lot of but what about, which isn't an argument, which is not a logical argument. Straw manning and red herring seems to be a good part of his repertoire, which are not feasible, logical facets to do an argument by. And from what I've seen, maybe I need to be a little bit more fair, but even when he does capitulate a little bit, he'll still kind of defend it on a philosophical.
I think that's a pride thing.
Yeah, probably. But hey, you're wrong, dude. Your philosophy's wrong. Every issue that's come up, it doesn't matter. Like these people, oh, look, we're turning the tide. People in New York voted for a socialist mayor. Number one, if you're proud of that, fuck off and get out of my country. Number two, that's not a victory for anybody, really. And number three, if you're going to defend the process on that, then just go back to the. I'm sorry, two things can be true at the same time, but two things can often not exist in the same space. There is no lefty that can tell me they love America. You can't, because it's completely contrary to the values on which this country operates and was founded on. It is. You can't tell me that you love this country and be a leftist. It's impossible. That's like me thinking Satan's cool, but I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
I just, you can't have those two things existing in the same space at the same time. And so that's where I get, and it's like, I don't know why at some point you would defend these policies or defend the people that are. What I've noticed, and I'll leave on this point, I was going to bring it up earlier, is like it reminded me, you said, well, he's lost a lot of friends. He hasn't lost any friends, because when I see people from the left, I don't see enduring really deep friendships like people on the right who connect through church or the military or a common decency or goal or family and all that stuff. I'm sorry, it might seem unfair to say, but the people on the right or conservative value have a much bigger grasp on what connections mean, what friendships mean. I mean, I'd throw myself in traffic for your girls, and I haven't met one of your girls, and I knew one of your girls when she was a baby, but I would do that. I wonder how many of these lefties at protests feel that about their friends' kids.
No, I think
you know what I mean?
I think they more see they judge friendships by the echo chamber.
They do, but there's not a real relationship there. It's like we all agree to the same crazy fucking thing, so we're gonna cling together, you know. Like we're out in the middle of the ocean and there's sharks, and so we're all going to cling together out of necessity, because we suck and our platform doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. There's no logic or anything. It's like cards on sand. So anyway, I'll just quit. I've been noticing that a lot too. It's like when I see exchanges between lefties, it's never like a bonding thing. It's all spouting the same memes.
Yeah, it's all the same talking points.
Yeah. I got told I like cock the other day by a lefty, and it had nothing to do with what I said. Oh, well, I just like a mega guy liking cock, and I'm like, thanks for the most ridiculous, nonsensical statement that had absolutely nothing to fucking do with what I said. Yeah, congratulations,
like,
you win.
Mask off. Thanks for the homophobic comments.
Yeah.
When did you start hating gay people?
Yeah.
Or you could turn around and say, yes, you know what? I do like fried chicken.
That's right. I do like cock. Matter of fact, Southern Carolina is one of my favorite football teams. Oh, well. All right. Let's get out of here. You guys out there, thanks for listening. And remember to keep your focus in.
They woke us.
Well, hey, everybody. This is Koop, the handsome and debonair one of the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast. Not to mention I'm the only one that's an actual bastard. Google that shit. Don't, actually. Hey, I'm here to do a shameless plug for our merchandise. You can find us at twogrumpybastardsmerchandise.com. We got a whole bunch of new merchandise in. I think you'll like some of the new choices. There's some pro-Second Amendment. There's some anti-Washington State Governor stuff on there. I think you'll really appreciate it. New stuff coming all the time. I have 2 great designs in the works, so please, to support this podcast, that's one of the easiest ways to do it. We're also on Etsy. Yeah, I know, Etsy. You can find our products on eBay as well. Storm King Mercantile is the name of the store there that fronts us. And there's many, many other ways to support this podcast, of course. We have a Patreon page, same thing, Two Grumpy Bastards. We certainly would appreciate you following us on Instagram. Most of you probably know we have a Facebook page, Two Grumpy Bastards Podcast. We have a lot of fun over there, a lot of frivolity, a lot of memes, and a lot of hard-hitting news. Believe it or not, a lot of great people in that group. Also, all of the social media outlets, including now on TikTok. You can find us there. And one of the things that I really wanted to tell you is if you have any feedback for Russ, especially because he kind of sucks, feel free to email us at twogrumpybastards@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us, or you can always leave us a comment or an IM on, or DM, I should say. See, I'm so savvy. I'm so savvy. on our Facebook page. So we really appreciate you listening or watching us over there on YouTube as well. And we hope you do both, because Russ is something to look at. I said something. I didn't say something really great to look at. Anyway, thanks for listening. This is your intrepid, amazing, and grateful host of the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast, Koop. Remember, keep your focus and stay wokeless.